Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing today? My name is Matt Jarbo. Welcome to Three Buck Theater. Here tonight with my buddy Mad Max, the motherfucking Mandalorian, for
That's
another
right.
episode of you can swear on this. I don't care. This is
Oh,
this
okay.
isn't this what
I'm
what
I'm not much of I'm mad. I'm mad on the internet, but I'm not much of a I don't swear too much.
yeah,
I
you're really
get
not
I
much.
get
Yeah, you
angry though.
really don't curse as often as I believe you should.
Mad mom.
Uh
That's just the way she trained me.
what's
Inhuman
up,
Quick's
Inhuman?
been following me everywhere.
Yeah,
Hey,
he's
Inhuman,
he's
thanks.
he's cool. He's cool. He pops up quite often. I see him in lots of chats and I'm like, "Hey, what's up, man?" He's a good dude. Yeah, so it's like, I mean, today's been interesting Hollywood wise. There's been no real news that's happening, but everyone is canceling themselves, or they are. They're canceling themselves at this point.
Yeah. You said this
And
would happen.
I
And
did say
you're
that would happen, yeah. And then
yeah.
it's happening, and then I just did this like live stream earlier. I just went off on it, and but I mean, like I've had time to kind of like reflect on my words after I said them. In the last couple
People don't
hours,
usually do that on YouTube.
no,
They
not
just
at
throw it out
all,
there.
not at all. I mean, like the way that I view it is like, I mean, I love the industry. And it's not just movies. Like I love the actual industry part of it too. I find the business to be fascinating. I always have. And when you approach what's happening right now with our culture, the shift that's changing, like it's cool because it's good to see. You want people to grow and to evolve, and that's what we
Yeah.
do all the time. Our opinions today aren't the ones we held yesterday, obviously, but it's so weird that instead of trying to create new art, they're trying to, I don't want to say memory hole everything else, but they're actively running away from it rather than making the attempt to try to, like, I think fix it. I think fixing it is not in the case of The Simpsons. You've had Hank Azaria and you've had Harry Shearer for 30 years voicing these
Mhm.
characters. And people always go, "Well, why didn't you do it back then?" They didn't have the budget for it back then. Most voice actors will do multiple voices on a show.
Mhm.
If you happen to watch, I know you haven't yet, but if you get around to watching F is for Family, which you should because it's the best thing on Netflix. Meanwhile,
Yeah, you keep saying that. I got to give it a shot. Well, he's freezing up. I'll say hi to the chat. Garrick Groover. Could white chicks be made today? I don't even think white chicks could be made today. Honestly. I think because people would be outraged over that too. LV Green Sup.
what's happening here? All right, I don't know what's
You're
going on. Uh,
Poindexter Lounge. Hey, Poindexter
oh,
Lounge.
I
You
didn't
know,
see him. Hey, memory hole. Yeah, memory hole. If you Max, if you send him the link real quick, because I'm not following him on Twitter. So if
oh,
he wants
okay.
to come and send him the link, it's fine. I like Enosh. He's a good dude. I actually watched a lot of his commentary with Lightcast the other day as I was driving around. I tuned that
Yeah.
in. But no, more or less what I was saying is just like, you have these characters, Harry Shearer, these actors, and in the case of F is for Family, in the season 4 opener, Bill Burr's character Frank talks with a priest. And I didn't know this until after I finished the season, but the priest was voiced by Bill Burr.
Mm.
So as he's having a conversation with himself, and oftentimes these voice actors will play multiple roles. There's a reason why The Simpsons, they play multiple roles. And so now when they're like, well, we're just gonna like move away and like have these characters not be voiced by the same people, I mean, at this point, you're just like, well, it's not gonna go the way you think, to quote The Last Jedi. People recognize the voices more than they recognize the character. If Mickey Mouse all of a sudden like dropped to like a very deep, bass filled baritone Barry White voice, you know, instead of like, ha, it's oh yeah, right? And like that was coming out of Mickey Mouse's mouth, all of a sudden people would be like, what the hell is going on? Like, when did he get balls? And you would get a lot of that. So it throws people off, especially these 13 30-year seasons or whatever, right? 30-year shows. And even Inhuman here says I'm going to miss Mike Henry as Cleveland, which is true. He's leaving Cleveland show.
Yeah. Well, I'm. It's going to get to the point where you can't even impersonate another nationality. You know, it doesn't like even. I just me and my wife because there was nothing on Netflix. We just watched Eurovision with
How was
Will
that?
Ferrell.
How was that? It's on my
It's
list of
like
things to watch.
it's like stupid fun. It's like a a rental. It's like
I ain't against that.
yeah. I mean, there was a few funny moments. Nothing amazing. Not with Will Ferrell's best by any means, but.
He's hit or miss.
He plays
good,
an Icelandic singer going into Eurovision, so in the future you're not going to be able to do that either. I don't know. I'm like, oh god, I was watching. It's like, oh boy, this is done. This type of stuff.
Yeah, they're going to accuse Will Ferrell of cultural appropriation, and I think some people out there might go, comedy's been accusing him of appropriation for years because he hasn't been funny. I love Will Ferrell. I've always loved Will Ferrell. But no, I mean, really, it's, I mean, like, okay, so, was it, Garrick here says, Phil Lamar, a black guy, voices Aquaman, a white guy, and Samurai Jack, a Japanese guy. I mean, and that's true. And I love Phil Lamar. I have ever since Mad TV season 1 back in the 90s. I think he's an excellent talent, not only live action, but voice action 100%. I loved him as Hermes on Futurama and anything else he's popped up, and you can tell Phil Lamar's voice. So, and it's like, but yeah, that's going to become the next thing. This is what we're going to see in the argument's going to be, but Phil Lamar, he's doing this.
All of these sitcoms and all these cartoon shows are being edited on streaming services right now. A majority of them.
Yeah. Well, Garrick here does follow by saying, I just hope older Simpsons episodes aren't redubbed with new voice actors. They're not going to do that. That is way too much work. And that's, I do think like this is a corporate mandate coming in from Disney is what I think that it is. But at the same time, it's like, how are we as a society, like, I just don't view this as being what's going to push us forward. I just don't see it like that.
Boy, the worst time for Disney to have to revamp all of its rides. Now they're after the Jungle Cruise. They're doing that. Do you know that? Someone on Twitter said, just remember, this exists in the Jungle Cruise. It shows the natives on the side.
Oh, yeah.
Small
there's
World.
A lot, yeah, there's always a lot of those.
You could say things about Small World, too. It's like very stereotypical of different countries. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like,
they don't have the money to revamp all the rides.
No, then they're revamping Splash Mountain to be more like Princess and the Frog. And here's the thing with that is, I love Princess and the Frog. I love that movie.
Yeah, so
I'm not against them adding a Princess and the Frog ride, but it's like Splash Mountain. I mean, I know Disney will revamp rides.
I just like the name of it too. Splash Mountain sounds
fun. It's cool. It's gonna, they're gonna call it like Swamp Mountain or something like that. It's gonna be like Bayou Mountain or Nolans Mountain or something like that. Is what it's gonna be.
Don't say New Orleans like that.
I can say Nolans. I've never actually been. I live in the West Coast. I'm a West Coast elite, a liberal West Coast elite. I can say what I want, clearly. But no, I really do feel at this point we have a problem with so much shit going on, and all these companies, they don't know how to respond. That's what it is. They're fearful of the backlash, especially right now.
It actually proves how much power the consumer actually does have. Even though that some aren't even consumers, they're just wanting outrage over outrage. But
I get it. I get it's fear of the consumer, like that part I understand. But the thing you have to consider here, Max, is like, and I learned this in Gamergate, and I mentioned this in that rant I went on earlier today. McLovin says here, Jarbo, don't get canceled. Oh, dude, go back 2 years. Go back 2 years. I'm still here. I'm still here. I've been canceled, man. It's fucking terrible, but I'm still here. And I love what I do, so I'm not going anywhere. So there's that. But I mean, yeah, these consumers, the people that screech the loudest, they generally don't actively engage with the product. We learned this during Gamergate, where you had all of these journalists coming out and beating their chests and saying all these games are sexist and they're just, blah, blah, blah. And then you go, okay, well, what games do you play? And they're like, oh no, I don't play video games. And it's like, it's always like the episode of The Simpsons, and it's great. The Simpsons has been on for so long. There's an episode for everything. It's like the episode where Maggie watches Itchy and Scratchy, and Maggie starts mimicking the violence in Itchy and Scratchy and using it against Homer So Marge goes on the crusade to get them to cancel Itchy and Scratchy. And they end up putting her in the show as like a squirrel, like a little mothering squirrel. It's a lot like that, where it, and even Mad TV, not Mad TV, sorry, Married with Children. There was a great line from an episode where Fox had put on a new series called Peas in a Pod, and it was effectively Married with Children, the TV show in the world where Married with Children exists. It was the same concept, dysfunctional families, woman shoe salesman, lazy wife, all that stuff, right? And originally the Bundys hated it, but they ended up going to the set and they ended up being like the inspiration, like kind of liking the fact that they were like this popular show. And then it gets canceled. And then comes Marcy and Al's like, well, what happened? And Marcy goes, oh, a woman in Ohio didn't like it, so Fox canceled the show. And in the mid 90s, when this was said, it was like absurd to think that. It was absurd to think that at the time, one person in Ohio, one pissed off Karen in Ohio, because I would assume her name is Karen, would get a show like this canceled. And then now, here it is some 20 odd years later. And we've seen that happen.
I just thought of something scary. You would think at the beginning of this medical pandemic that the writing might get better, but those anti-SJW channels, just think about the stuff that's happening now, today, after the last few months of stories being written, how different they're going to be than actually getting the production. It's going to be, it might be bad.
We're going to go through a bit of a drought for a while. Yeah.
I mean, but they're going to have to tiptoe and walk around landmines about topics just so people don't flip out about everything.
I eventually that's going to go away. Like eventually it's like, so it's kind of like this, what we had, I don't know how old you are. I've never asked. And I'm 38 and I remember being in the early 90s.
Pretty close. We're pretty close.
Okay.
Man.
So you remember what it was like in the 90s when we had the rampant PC culture. It was a major thing. If you notice now we're back to that again.
Yeah.
But there was a time at the end of the 90s, in the early of the 2000s, where the pendulum swung back, right? And it swung back the other day. And then you'd find a lot more raunchier comedy. And you'd find a lot more of these types of these anti-PC approaches because everyone was just tired of the PC approach. But then the anti-PC ended up becoming too vitriolic, too toxic, if you will. And so the pendulum started swinging back. And so now we're in that weird place where the pendulum is swinging back. And I think it's at that apex again, where everyone's sick and tired of PC culture. And it's not that everyone is racist and sexist and bigoted. It's that they don't want to be treated like that.
There is more than people want to admit, though, especially ones with the YouTube channels.
There are
hate.
Quite a few of those channels. And I mentioned a few of them earlier. It's funny as I ended up running afoul of some Doomcock fans. One of them one of them came to me, like kind of bitched me out on my Facebook. And I just said, he's a liar and a fraud. And then, she apparently, and I think I think it's a dude, but whatever. That person went and like screen capped that and like went to the Doomcock Army Facebook page and like narked me out and then like tweeted at Doomcock about it to like get his attention, to get Daddy Doomcock.
He wears a peen hat. I'm sorry. He's an idiot.
I'm just saying,
if people call me Dollar Store Doomcock, I'm like, I don't put a peen on my head and talk.
Yeah, but I gotta laugh though. I do like the nickname Dollar Store Doomcock. It has a nice ring to it. Okay. And it sounds more. I'm not saying embrace it, Max. Yeah. I'm just saying it's like funny. Yeah. I mean, people will say, "Oh, 3 cuck theater." I think it's funny. I think it's fun. It's like stupid, but it's funny.
I like people making YouTube videos about me. It's funny most of the time. Not to go. No offense, not to go to where you're not where you're at in the past.
It's it's not that big of a deal at the end of the day, but yeah. There is what is it? Oh, Garrick here says John Campea said the N-word. Yeah, we know John Campea said the N-word. And maybe that's why he stepped away. Maybe that's why.
I mean, he still does. He gets tips 24 hours now. He's not putting the effort. I'll give him credit. He put in the effort for the John Campea show when there's nothing to talk about. He still did his show, and it got frustrating. I can understand that. Like I couldn't. I've tried to do movie talk there's not that much to talk about it. So I totally get it. It's like so much effort. He's just like right when the Jimmy Kimmel stuff though. He's like
Well, I think the Robert My Burnett thing had more to do with it than the Jimmy Kimmel, to be honest with you. I think because he's lived through that N-word debacle before.
But he brought it up again, though. So
like I mean, because I think he was like
people were tweeting at him too.
Yeah,
and then he brought it up but
I think but that's also the hard part too. When you've made a mistake, and then people still want to hit you with that mistake. It's
he gave cancel culture the benefit of the doubt and said, "I'll explain the whole situation here, and people will just accept it." Nope.
No. You know, I mean, you don't want to do that.
He gave them too much. He gave them too much. Credit.
Yeah. You don't want to do that. I've learned that the hard way. You don't want to do that.
I'll get ahead of this. I'll say, and we'll have one more talk about it, and everything will be fine and dandy. No, it did not happen that way.
It's like the Snyder Cut thing again. Like we'll never have to talk about the Snyder Cut ever again. Someone's all like, "John, remember the time he said the N-word?" And it's all like, "God damn it."
Oh, that reminds me. The corner. I'm not going to bring that up. The only reason I'm bringing that up, Matt, is I've had some.
The corner. Sorry, I didn't think about that.
That's certain corner of YouTube, which hey, I'm not bringing you back into this because you're kind of getting away from that again. But you did come up with Jokey, and that man is that perfect. But some fans of Jody's Corner come in the comment section and say, "Man, you whack as hell." And I'm like, okay, you're welcome on my corner anytime. I was like, come on my show. And they're like, maybe I will. And I'm like, okay. So I might do like, I don't think I'll ever talk to Jody or Andy, but I might talk to some of their fans. And I said, give, come both barrels at me if you think I've been unfair. So I might do a stream like that.
You should. I mean, I kind of want to do that too for a couple reasons. One, I like to debate. Mm-hmm. Like I got into it today with this drunk Irish guy. After I did my stream, I got invited into this like shit posting stream and with guys that wasn't on YouTube, it was on some smaller website, but they were bringing up what happened with me. And this guy was like trying to call me a rapist and like, it fucking triggered me. And I like went off on this guy for like an hour. And then I realized after the fact that they were just playing me to get there. So like, yeah, it's not, you got to do it, but you got to keep your cool with it too.
The person she was saying, I don't want to be ambushed or attacked. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I said, I'm a big boy. You have criticism of me, I'll take it.
Real quick. H Bart's $2 super chat. Thank you, sir. By the way, I just want to point out, we had a conversation last night with H Bart's here about Chinese cinema, about Hong Kong cinema and Kung Fu and all that stuff. Excellent conversation. You guys can find it over on the Hollywood After Dark archive channel, which is linked. It won't be linked right now in this video, but you can find it in any other video. And it's in there. We had a good conversation with it. And that actually, I just want to quickly point out, that actually kind of inspired me last night because I was thinking about positive, right? Because, about wanting to do more positive things. So what I want to do, and I probably will do this later on tonight once you take off, because I'll be on for a while, is like just open up the phone lines. I want you guys to come in and just tell me what your favorite movie is.
Oh, okay, cool.
Let's just talk about, let's geek out a little bit, right? And I think that's a lot of fun.
I'll tell you one thing that's positive that I absolutely enjoyed the hell out of it. I think it's even better than the movie. What We Do in the Shadows, season 1 and 2. Did you see that yet?
No, I haven't even seen the movie. I do know of it, and it's I do like the talent involved. Jermaine Clement is God, in my opinion.
Me and my wife laughed hysterically.
I'll have to check that one out.
I mean, it's a certain type of. I like most types of humor, but man, I liked it better than the movie. Oh, it's on. If you do,
Mark Hamill's in season 2, isn't he?
Yes.
Okay, because I was seeing something. Yeah, well, I was seeing something about that. We got another guest. What's going on, Poindexter Lounge?
What's going on, guys? I'm doing great, man. I'm like sitting around the house and trying to get ready for bed, and then I see you fine gentlemen up on the internet,
I'm like, I don't know. I'm a deplorable. What are you talking about? I'm a despicable human being.
Well, I take what I can get, So
speaking of that, Sacha Baron Cohen was in my town today.
Really?
Cool.
I live in a town with 40,000 people. It's a smaller town. It's the capital of Washington. And Sacha Baron Cohen was here because there was some like alt-right, right-wing 3%er rally or something. And he showed up in costume and started like stormed the stage, had his private security block the stage. So like no one could get up there, and he started singing a song about like anti-fascists like beheading people like Saudi Arabia and shit.
Wow.
No, but he was like trolling. He was trolling all the people that were there. It was hysterical. And that cracked me up. I just thought that was really funny.
Man,
Real quick though,
he's got balls.
he does. Yeah, well, he was in my. I love that guy. I've been a fan for years, and he was in my town. I'm like, God. Real quick, $2 super chat from Kaylin Bryson. Been watching Children's Hospital on Hulu. I've seen the first season. It's a funny show. Very funny show.
I don't know about this show.
It's Rob Corddry. Think of it. What they did was for Adult Swim. It was a live action for Adult Swim, which it took me a little bit of time to kind of wrap my head around that one. What it is essentially is it's like children. They think of General Hospital, the soap opera, but in a children's hospital with really messed up people, you know. And so you've got who is it? Like Rob Corddry, like Bell is in it. I think Ken Marino is in it. There's a lot of people. Oh, real quick here, gotta pump on. $10 super chat. Gotta clap it out. Yeah, clap it out. H Barts. What am I?
Cash out. Where's the cash out? Oh no, cash out.
I threw my phone over there so it would stop interfering with the microphone. So if anyone, I have the thing. But anyway, no, I appreciate the H Barts here. He says here, one of my favorite films is Four Brothers with Mark Wahlberg. Also speaking, have Sacha Baron Cohen. Have you watched Spy on Netflix? It's a really good miniseries.
I did not see.
I know about Spy. I want to see it. It came out last year. And it was good. And then Four Brothers I didn't see, but I wanted to, because was that a Singleton movie? Was that a John Singleton film? I know it was, or maybe Craig Brewer. Hold on, let me look. Four Brothers.
I'm glad you came on, Enosh. I missed you, Enosh. We've been doing our thing, but we've been not collabing or not meeting up. So I appreciate.
I know.
Coming on.
Oh yeah, it was Singleton. I was right. Rest in peace, John Singleton. I just have to say that real quick. But thank you very much, H Bars. I need to see those movies and that show. There's a lot that I have to watch, and that's kind of maybe what we should do right now is focus on other shit.
Yeah, we have to, because here's another thing. Does anyone, why even put a date on it? Like, why move Tenet and put like August 15th? Does anyone believe that? I'm like, just don't even put a date on it.
No, after
it's becoming a joke.
August 15th is the week before the DC Fandom.
Oh, okay.
So I think that has something to do with it, if I'm being fair. Like, I think they because remember, Wonder Woman was going to be on that date as well before they moved it to like November or October, whenever it's coming out. So there was that. And I think that had a lot to do with setting up DC Fandom. But I mean, Tenet is not a DC property, but they could go, oh, if you go to the theater, we're going to have a Suicide Squad trailer. Or a new Wonder Woman trailer or something. We'll have something there. Or a Batman teaser. But if you want to see the full Batman trailer, it's going to be at DC Fandom. Like, I mean, you know, that's how I view them going to be able to do it.
Well, I called it the Disney and Warner Bros. Are playing chicken. You move. You go first. With Mulan and Tenet.
Yeah.
As soon as Mulan switched, like, we're not going first.
Well, that's the thing. They don't want to
go first.
They don't want to be the canary in the coal mine.
Yeah.
No one wants to do it. I think like that Russell Crowe movie Uncaged or whatever it is, like that revenge film that he's like, everyone's like, yeah, put that in theaters. I'm like, yeah, no, I'd go see it. Like, I would go see if my theater was open right now, it's a Cinemark. I'd go see a movie.
Me too.
I would just go. I'd go in either early in the morning or I'd go to the last show at night. Generally, there's no one there. And I would just
be all
sit.
wrapped up.
No, I would. You know what I would do? I would just I have my mask on. I'd keep my hands in my pocket, and I would just sit back in the recliner. I don't know. I don't. That's the. Well, see, that's the. Well, I said hands in my pocket, not in my pants, Max. Now, granted,
it's not that kind of theater.
It wouldn't be hard to slit.
Don't go to those theaters anymore.
You can't. I mean. Okay. Off
that's
topic,
the
but
$3 theater. That's the $3
theater. That's the $3. That's a real $3 theater right there. It's XXX. No,
is
but
that
this
where
is
you got your name? $3?
No. There's an actual theater that I used to work at that was $3. That's why.
Oh, okay.
But no. What was I going to say? Fuck. Damn
My
it. It
fault.
was no,
when
it
you
was
would go to the theater. When you would
it's a-
go and what you
it's-
would do at the theater.
well, no, it's a porn theater joke. Oh, right. Thank you. Thank that. Well, I thank myself because I remembered. I was reading about this a while ago where even if you they've been trying to talk to you about not having sex. Like New York was saying don't have sex during COVID, during the quarantine. Because believe it or not, coronavirus can live in like your saliva and your tears and your semen. And so,
Right.
like, yeah, so imagine going to a porn theater right now, and it can live up to 2 weeks in certain things.
Man.
So you're literally walking into this like
Now I don't want takeout either.
plague den. You don't want to go to a hotel, but I mean, it would be like walking into a scene from The Last of Us where there's like spores everywhere. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
put on your gas mask. We got to go watch this porno film because everyone here's been. We don't know how much of this is COVID laced cum.
Did anyone clip that out? Can someone clip that out? What?
I'm
What
just
was
saying.
that?
I'm just saying.
What was-
I'll tell you this. The worst sexually transmitted disease known to man is Ebola. Because once you are cured of Ebola, it can be transmitted sexually. The weird things that you do. Oh wow! Hey, hold on. Another $10 super chat. Got to clap it out. I'm gonna Jody's corner this thing. Why not? It
Are you a
apparently works.
member yet? Are you a member?
Are you a member? Are you?
Oh, come on
Are you
now.
part of the Jody Army? Are you coming into three?
You know what we do? You know what we do, Matt, on our channel? I go into television preacher mode, and I say, yes, reach your hand out right now. Touch that screen. Thank you for believing with us. Thank you for coming into partnership with us. As yes, H Bots has given $10, ladies and gentlemen. Hallelujah. Glory to his name.
That's
Yes, thank
fucking
you.
funny. That's
Yeah.
fucking funny. Thank you, H. Barnes. Let's see here. Okay, now that I'm done laughing, I can read it. My last question is: do you think that by George R. R. Martin not releasing the last books, it hurt Game of Thrones? And do I think the last books will ever come out? Yes and no. Well, yes. I think the by him not releasing the last books, it doomed the last couple seasons because the writers were then stuck with trying to figure out like a blueprint that's not the same blueprint that they had before. Martin is a fantastic writer. They were able to adapt fantastic writing into a fantastic show. When that writing went away and they just had like a skeletal approach of what was going to happen. And the fact that, and then they were doing it the way based on what George had told them. And then also George was like actively chiding them. And when the negative reception to season 8 started coming out, you started seeing these interviews with George Martin going, well, like my books are going to be different. They're going to be different. Characters are alive that are dead in the books or dead in the show, and there's a lot of that kind of stuff. And you're like, yeah, I get it, man. I get it. Like there's, obviously like, there's characters that are alive in the books that are dead in the show. Like I get that. It's an adaptation. That doesn't matter though. What matters though, is the fact that he was throwing Dan and Dave under the bus.
Yeah.
And at a time when like, he shouldn't have been doing that. Like I found that to be the most unprofessional thing ever. And it really damaged my opinion of George R. R. Martin. Yes, season 8 has problems. Was I satisfied with it at the end? 100%. I liked it. But I can understand why there are people out there who don't like it. That's fine. But when he's talking about like, oh, I've been in quarantine and I've been writing The Winds of Winter. It's like, bitch, you were talking about this like fucking 10 years ago almost.
Right.
Like you were supposed to be finishing this up. And yes, it actively damaged the show because then they weren't able to. It'd be like finishing the Harry Potter franchise, doing the movies before the last book came out. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to be the same thing. Like people are going to go into the last couple Song of Ice and Fire books and it will be praised for being better than the show because it has the hindsight of being able to go back and look what people didn't like and then be a crowd pleaser. And that's all it is. It's George R. R. Martin is a people pleaser. That's what he boils down to. He's just a people pleaser. So he screwed over Dan and Dave, I think, who had made mistakes. I want to be fair on that one. And then, now he's like, oh, now I'm working on it. He said last year that he was supposed to have this book out by 2021 or 2020. He's like, if I don't finish it, you can lock me up and throw me in jail. Well, bitch, we have a worldwide jail happening right now with the pandemic.
Yeah.
Get the fuck to work. Sorry.
There's a pandemic. You have to stay at home. George R. R. Martin, are you finishing?
That's my rant for the. That's my rant. I've been ranting a lot today, apparently.
Man.
Yeah, you said you were going to be more positive. What the hell?
Yeah, well,
Why
because what happened was I did that video earlier today, which I don't know if you saw that one, Enosh, or not. It's like an hour long.
Yes, I did. That was one of the reasons why I was intrigued to come on this one, because I it's just a crazy time to live. And as you guys were talking, and invited me on, I was just thinking the same thing. It's like, I've been a lifelong fan of The Simpsons, obviously. I love Family Guy, no matter what anybody says. I still watch that show and whatever. And it's just like, what are we doing? This is just crashing and burning. And it's like, we're throwing just everything at the wall now and just going, hey, if it could be offensive to somebody, we're just going to do it. And we're not even going to think about it.
What pissed me off, though, is, and it was said earlier, I think in the stream, I think Garrick brought it up in the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons episode of Community, the season 2 episode. It's one of I think it's their best episode outside of the paintball episodes, which were directed by the Russo brothers, by the way. But it's a good episode. And the people were mad because Chang was like, I guess in blackface, he cosplayed as a drow, which is a dark skinned elf, and that's what it was. That's what got pulled. And that whole episode is literally about getting a guy to not commit suicide. That whole episode is about the gang coming together to keep a dude from killing himself by playing Dungeons and Dragons with him. It was actually a very well done episode, exceptionally well done episode. And then it's just like, oh, there's this. Let's just get rid of it. It's like the context matters. This overreaction and oversimplification from people in Hollywood right now, it goes to show you that they are this is them being afraid. This is what Hollywood looks like, afraid, which is so weird to see.
They're already afraid because of they're taking a big hit this year. Woo!
Yeah, and they're afraid but they're afraid they're going to lose. Like, you're not going to. If you just, like, I'm not saying like, actively go out and seek to do blackface right now. Like, no, don't do it. Obviously, don't do it. Like, that's stupid. Don't do it. Yeah. But like things happen in a snapshot. Like, I am legitimately waiting for this extremely uber woke crowd to discover Mel Brooks.
Oh,
and then God have mercy on their soul if you try. You know what I mean? Like, God have, like, I will link arms with,
oh my gosh,
with a proto-fascist neo-Nazi KKK member who's like, defend Mel Brooks. We both can laugh at comedy. Your opinions are shit and you're gonna burn in hell, but we both agree about Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you wouldn't have to go that far. I hope not. At least if that has to happen,
we're jumping back and forth on that scale, aren't we, Matt?
I have
wow. Like when I was listening earlier, it's like, I'm kind of a
I'll
lefty.
clip that out, man.
And I'm kind of a lefty, and I'm very progressive and stuff. I will march.
Matt, did you hear what you said on this stream?
Thanks for having me on, guys. I'll see you
cancel.
later.
Look how red his face is. I feel Andy Signore's mask is still a lighter shade.
Man.
Okay,
correct yourself now before you
let me no. Okay, well, I did say also, like, your opinions are shit and you'll burn in the fiery pits of hell. I did say that, and I mean that. I am a lefty. I'm 100% lefty, but I'm just
disclaimer.
I'm just saying it's more or less like, listen, comedy is comedy. I'm not a fan of Milo Yiannopoulos anymore, but I do know Milo Yiannopoulos, and he made a good point at one point during his tour. Which I won't repeat because I don't want this channel to get demonetized. But he goes, look, everybody likes to laugh. And it doesn't, he's like, I have seen the most like crazy leftist people and the crazy right leaning people laugh at the same jokes. Mm-hmm. And what it is you got to get them in a room and you got to make them laugh. Because that's the way, in many cases, the way that a lot of comedians they're able to put this information out there. They do it, they convey it in such a way to where it's like, look at Carlin. Carlin was funny.
Yeah.
And he said the horrible things that he said with purpose. And 40 years later, or 30 years later, everyone's like, yeah, okay. There are people that I've seen try to attack Carlin recently, but it's like, no, you just don't understand what Carlin was trying to say. That's what I'm saying. If you go after something like Blazing Saddles, you're an idiot. I don't care who you are. That movie is that is one of the funniest goddamn things ever created by man. And it's so anti-racist, but it plays up so many tropes in order to get that message across. So it's just it's hysterical stuff.
Well, I think you hit it on the head earlier when you were talking about how like this stuff comes around. Like so in the 90s,
Man.
like you were saying, it was really getting hit hard, and we were getting hit over the head with it so hard every day that it was getting to that point where you felt like you couldn't laugh at anything anymore. You couldn't look at anything in a lighthearted way, anything. And then all of a sudden there was the backlash against that. And I think it goes in circles like that. You're going to get these times where eventually somebody's going to wake up, because I'm seeing a lot of people even who are going, wait a second, what are we doing here? Canceling all these, voice actors now all of a sudden, and, trying to drop everything. Because like you said, I don't want to tune into my favorite shows and hear some weird, crazy voice coming out of the character that I've been watching for 20 years.
Or give a disclaimer, like HBO Max, even though they took that they gave a disclaimer. Just, I don't know if that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
Do something.
Well, here's something. There's an episode of Golden Girls that apparently had blackface in a scene.
I think I remember that now.
And it has been now excised from the episode.
Oh wow.
So Robert Meyer Burnett just said, so I guess common sense has flown out the window. And Robert Meyer Burnett, he lefty as fuck. So, the left, you're getting what it is you're going, once you start to piss off the moderates, you are in for a world of shit. Because when the moderates get angry, it takes a lot to get them there. They're the ones, they're the consumers. They're the consumers. They're the ones in the middle. They're the middle America. They're the middle class. Those are predominantly the moderates. And you're going to, if you anger them, you are actually angering people who spend money. And that is going to end up causing a lot of problems. It's not the extremes. It's not the fringes. They're the loud, most vocal ones, and they get the most grease for those wheels.
Yes.
But they're not the ones you have to watch out for. And that's what I was trying to say earlier today in my stream when I was going off about, all that shit. Like these people just hang out and, these people on Twitter, they hang out in Starbucks. Like, oh, I hate capitalism, but they're in a Starbucks on an $800 iPhone sipping a latte. And,
in the Starbucks, when's the next iPhone come out?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they just released a new I think it's like an XLS or whatever the hell it's called, or it's like a cheaper model iPhone. It's got the iPhone 11. I don't know.
I have an iPhone. I don't know what number it is. I don't care.
But that is legitimately like the problem though. The problem is these people are not. They're hypocrites. I mean, and look, yes. I will be the first person to say I'm a hypocrite too in a number of ways. A lot of us are. We are. Whether it's it's accidental in many cases. Life gets busy. We might not see something some way or whatever. We're all hypocritical, but it's like still having that acknowledgement of growth as a human, of what you're trying to do that's better. That's where and honestly, like both left and right, they fail miserably. I'm sorry, again, the lefties are psycho as hell when it comes to this cancel culture shit. It cracks me up when the right wing goes they're like hashtag all lives matter, but then they want to bomb abortion clinics. You know what I mean? It's like, well, you can't really, or no, they want to take Medicare away from the homeless, or they want them, something along those lines. And you're like, but wait, didn't Jesus like take a fish and bread and do all this, right with it, like hand tricks?
So yeah, man. The thing is that people forget, I think, a lot of times that those of us who live in the middle and who try to just respect our fellow man and try to look at it that way instead of trying to be on the fringe. I mean, I get accused because I'm a person of faith and I work in that
I am
field.
not, so I'll probably offend you.
No. And see, here's the thing, Matt, you will not offend me. Okay, I'm a person.
Well, now it's a
faith.
Challenge.
What? No,
I'm kidding.
Look, if I can go through that, no, trust me.
Another man of faith.
Listen.
In the chat.
No, I said, hey, what's going on, Ambassador? How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, no, listen. I'm a man of faith, but I am not easily offended. And the thing is I keep running into that where people will be like, oh, well, don't you feel this way about this item or that item? And it's like, no, man, I work in that field. Okay. So I'm a minister, and that's what I do for a living. Okay. But our church is we have so many different people from so many different sides that it's like, I always laugh when people think that I'm one side or another, or people because there's people who assume that because I'm a man of faith that well, you must feel this way on this social issue, or you must feel this way on this social issue. And then we've got people who are on the other end of that. And I tell people, look, I'm on the side of common sense. Okay. I'm on the side that looks at it and says, you know what? When Jesus came for people. He didn't hang out with a bunch of rich people. He came for the common man. And like you said, he had compassion on people in the Bible where he fed 5,000 people. You know what I mean? Like that was it. But everybody wants to raise this flag and act like that because you're of a certain idea, you know, or because you follow a certain creed, that all of a sudden that means that you go along with what all these other people do, you know, and what all these other people think. And that's just not true. I am not easily offended. I will sit here and say, I love Blazing Saddles. You know what I mean? Like my wife, look, I wish my wife was here. My wife is the biggest Mel Brooks fan you will ever meet. Okay. And so the thing is like, that's just, it's getting to a point where we stop looking at everybody as you either have to change them to think like you, or you're going to crush them, and just realize that people have different opinions, different thoughts, different backgrounds, and everything doesn't have to offend you. Look, it doesn't offend me when somebody goes off on a tirade, you know, on something because he got a $10 super chat. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't offend me, because I realize, look, we're human beings and we may not agree on everything, but you know what? We're here talking about the stuff that we do agree. We're talking about movies and stuff. And if we want to have a civil discussion about something that we don't disagree about, I promise people I'll have a civil discussion all day long. But don't yell and scream at me and tell me what I'm supposed to think. And I won't do the same to you. It's common sense, but
it's hard. It's hard sometimes. I've met people recently. I was at Costco the other day, and it's now you have to wear masks and stuff.
Today. Oh, that was horrible.
It's a nightmare. Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Saturday, woo!
I won't. Yeah, I go before they close at 8:30. I go at 8:20 p.m. because they'll let me. I
did like a crying game shower when I got home. I'm like, there were so many people in there. Did you untuck your penis? Is that what happened, Max?
Make sure you got to do that, Max.
The worst case of hemorrhoids you've ever seen.
I mean, it's the most people I've been around since this whole thing started. I mean, they are not. Thanks, Matt.
Do you know that line?
No.
Enosh got it. Enosh got the line. It's from the ending of Ace Ventura when he turns Sean Young around.
Yeah.
It's the worst case of hemorrhoids I've ever seen.
Tonight on a special episode of Mad Max.
He does. He knows crying game, but doesn't know the memes.
I should have gone in like this. People would have given me room. If I had this, I can wear this mask and another mask on top, and they'd be like,
"You should totally do that. Man. You should totally do that."
Hold up my Costco card. Do you see the resemblance?
just walk in, just go like, "I'm prepared."
Yeah.
What's going on?
But they don't limit who goes in the store anymore. There was a lot of people there.
Yeah,
I was uncomfortable.
My Costco doesn't limit anyone, and you have to wear masks. My Walmart limits people. It closes earlier than Costco, and doesn't make you wear a mask. And I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Well, we can't get into the mask conversation because I have friends that are like, I'm not wearing a mask. And I'm like, I don't want to get into that conversation. But the point is, though, beyond politics, if you know it's going to save a life, it could save a life.
Oh wow, here we go. H Bart's back with another $10 super chat. Yeah, oh my God. Thank you, sir. Third time.
Are you from Jody's Corner?
At this point, if we ever meet, I think I'm just required to suck you off. I think that's what's going to happen now.
I thought I don't like how accurate.
Should I get up and walk in front of my camera?
Yeah, do it. Oh.
What the hell am I going? What the hell am I on right now?
This is funny. Anyway, I wanted to see. This is what happens when we just fuck around, dude. This is why YouTube is fun. We have almost 70 people watching just for a nearly midnight movie chat.
Remember to smash the hell out of
the like.
Smash the hell out of Matt's channel.
And we'll be doing the call-ins. We'll be doing the call-ins here pretty soon too. I'll drop the link for it.
Show up H-Marks 100.
Yeah.
He's gonna keep giving 10 till he gets to 100, right? No.
Hold on. Let me answer the man's question first.
No.
The man's question.
We're promoting everything. Poindexter Lounge in the house. Go to our channels. Go. No.
There you go. Poindexter Lounge, Mad Max Mandalorian. These guys put out content. You guys should go check them out.
Geeks and
Sorry. Geeks and gamers and Geeks and Gamers, Nerds and Players Entertainment, not affiliated with another possible Geeks Plus Gamers trademark. Also not located in Florida.
He's Geeks Plus, and he's overcompensating. He is below average on his takes on.
Back with another video.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, let's look at this here. He asks, have any of you guys watched Waxworks? It's a great 80s horror comedy. Also, have you watched the old British horror films like Dracula starring Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing?
Yeah.
I think I saw Waxworks 2. I know I've seen one of them. It's been so long. And I have seen the Christopher Lee old Hammer Dracula films. And those were always a lot of fun. I love all that old, like, kind of schlocky cinema. One of my favorite movie-going experiences, and I do talk about this every once in a while, is back in 2007, right before the Grindhouse double feature hit out. Tarantino had bought a movie theater in LA called the New Beverly, and he put on a literal 3-month Grindhouse Film Festival. Where they would show new movies all the time, and like literally every day would be new movies coming out of his personal collection.
Wow.
That's cool.
I drove up from San Diego 4 times to go and see Grindhouse movies. And we saw the first one I went to was we saw Rolling Thunder and Revenge of the Cheerleaders. 2 wildly different films. We showed both of those trailers on the last Hollywood After Dark Trailer Park, which I need to bring back and do that again because that was a lot of fun. But those are like just, again, Grindhouse movies, and they're Tarantino and they're his handpicked movies. And it's just so much fun, especially with a crowd of people. You got to watch these things with a crowd of people. Like, have you guys ever seen The Room?
Yes.
Like, I saw The Room in Los Angeles at the Sunset 5, Saturday midnight. Tommy Wiseau introduced the film. This is right after it started blowing up. My friend called me up, said, hey, we're going to go to LA tonight and go see this. You want to come with us? I'm like, all right, cool. We went out, we did Pink's Hot Dogs, which was a waste of time. But then we got hammered, went and saw the movie. And it was my mind-blowing, earth-shattering experience because it's so much fun to sit with a bunch of other drunken, stoned people in the theater. And it's like Rocky Horror, but way less gay. And it's, and I like Rocky Horror. I'm just saying that because there's no like Tim Curry and Barry Bostwick scene, which makes me feel really uncomfortable. No.
Here we go. The meter's going.
There we go. No, it's good stuff. But yeah, no, I've seen a bunch of those old films. I'd love for them to bring those back right now.
Yeah.
Now is the time. Bruce Campbell is actually showcasing Evil Dead, a 4K remastered cut. He's taking it on a tour of drive-ins.
Oh my gosh. We have a drive-in near us. I hope
if you're in the Midwest is where it's at. He's not touring like, Oregon and Washington. He lives in Oregon, but it's like, if they were, there's a drive-in near me. If I found out they were doing an Evil Dead 4K remaster, I'd be like, there, heartbeat.
Dude. No, I am in the Midwest. That is totally me, man. If that comes anywhere close, and we've got one, we still have one that's within like 10 minutes of our house. So man, if they bring that in, I'm down. But that's what they need to do. That's what they really need to do to get people back into the theaters and back into going to movies again. I mean, I understand the push that they want to get like these big movies back in, and they want to get these movies off the ground, and like Tenet and other ones, and there's going to be a time to do that. But right now, man, they can release old movies and get them in the theater and get that nostalgia.
Why even say the August date? Unfortunately, things are taking a bad back turn. Cases are rising. Why even give that date? Just say, just delay it and just wait a little bit. I think, because unfortunately, the way it's going, they're gonna have to move it again.
Yeah, it's false hope. It's false hope that hey, we're gonna put this out at this date, and then you're just ticking everybody off. Yeah.
Okay. So here's the thing with the Evil Dead. I just looked it up real quick.
Okay.
Grindhouse Releasing is the name of the company putting out. Which, by the way, I just immediately followed them on Twitter. I'm like, you have my follow, sir. They said, please retweet this and request it at your local drive-in. Like, get them to reach out because they can do their own bookings. Most drive-ins are independently owned, and they can do their own. They might have a booker that they work with, but they can also like manage these deals and shit. I'm gonna send that to my former boss, who because I don't know if you guys know this. I worked at a drive-in for over 10 years. And I'm still very good friends with everybody down there.
Cool.
So I'm gonna send this to my boss. If they get this, if they put this in San Diego, I might have to fly down to San Diego. I'm not going to San Diego this summer, so I'm like, need to have an excuse to go to San Diego. You know what I mean? Like, I'll just tell my girlfriend, yeah, I just gotta go to Dago for like a couple days. You know, I gotta go down see my brother.
They should just go all in and do more pop-up drive-ins with like restaurant to your car.
Hold on. I agree with you. $20 from HBarts. Holy
HBarts,
shit.
100.
Holy geez.
That's a lot, man. That's a big one. I just gotta show you my titty now.
Oh my god.
No, we're not doing that.
Well,
He's-
you have barely given. You have given from the heart.
If that happens.
Yes.
Man.
Yes, you have given. May it be given back to you so that you may give more.
Minister
More.
Enoch Spett.
More into the quiver of one Matt Jarbo.
Thank you so much.
Yes, from Matt Jarbo will take this word, take this whatever he's going to go on the
he's
next
good at
rant, and he will bless it, and it will be pressed down, shaken together, and running over shall men give unto your bosom. And I just wanted to say bosom.
Well, if he was my preacher, I'd probably still be Christian. There we go. Thank you, sir. Thank you. He says here, it's nice knowing that I'm able to talk to you guys about old films and foreign films as much as many of my friends and coworkers hate old and foreign films like the one my coworkers will not watch any film that's not in color. He mentioned that, thank you, but he talked about this last night where he came in and we're talking about like kung fu movies, Jackie Chan movies, and he starts dropping like insane amounts of knowledge about a lot of these Hong Kong cinema films I didn't even know about. And then we just like geeked out for like about 45 minutes on it.
That's a great
And so,
now getting into a genre that you haven't really dived into.
Yeah.
Like mine would be horror. I love action kung fu movies. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So no, H Barts, he even said he's like my friends don't want to ever talk about this stuff with me. Dude, fucking straight up, man. Like, it's a great conversation last night. Thank you again for everything tonight. This is what I want on my channel. I want there to be like more geek out than not. Like, I went off today about everything in Hollywood because it angers me, but I still want there to be like, what movies do you like? Let's have more fun, because it's negativity is draining. I'll tell you that. Like, it's very draining.
Yeah.
But no, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. That's awesome. And yeah, you're always welcome on the show, dude. Like, no payment needed. I'm not John Campea.
You're always welcome as long as you got a wad full of cash. No.
Now we know why he's a preacher.
No, well, hey, I just went over and did the same thing, Matt. I followed Grindhouse releasing.
Yeah.
And I also tweeted my local theater.
Here, I'll share that image real quick if you guys want to check this out there. Grindhouse releasing at Grindhouse Film on Twitter. If you're like me, I love Grindhouse movies.
I mean, this is what movie theaters have to do, or not movie theaters, but movie companies. They have to. There's still a lot of movie theaters or drive-ins that exist. There should be more, but there's still enough. There's still some out there that you don't even realize.
Well, there are. And I mean, and my experience comes from having worked at one for so long in San Diego that was open 365 days a year. So that was my full-time job for a very long time. And I love it. It's my home away from home.
They have to wait till it's a little dark to start though?
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
That's the one downside.
Right now,
I was like, put more showings at the drive-in, but you really can't.
Yeah, during the summer it's different. Like in Washington, it doesn't get dark until like 10. Like, I mean, it's just, but in San Diego, you're looking at about 8:30 is usually pretty decent. During the solstice week, I mean, like, it's roughly, we'll hold it on the weekends until about 8:45. We can't really go longer than 9 p.m. just because there's a swap meet that comes in on Saturday and Sunday, and they get there at 4. And so if we're running like, when we had, it was in 2005, we had Michael Bay's The Island playing twice. Mm-hmm. And I forget what the co-feature was, but The Island is like 2:45. It is a long, long, long movie. Also Michael Bay's best, but still. That movie didn't end until about 5:15 in the morning. And I had to work until 5:15 in the morning, and I have to get to the theater at about 6:15 p.m. So I'd be there for like 11 hours. I'd be dead tired.
Oh, man.
But, you know, and I was doing this while going to film school, and we were shooting an infomercial for the county on energy conservation. And during that time, I actually had 6:30 a.m. call times. So I'd get off work at 5:15. I'd go to the bank, go home, get a shower, go get a burrito, go right to school, and then film for 10 hours. Come home, grab a quick nap, and go back to work.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was I was drinking energy drinks like it was water, and I was
Oh, I
smoking
bet.
cigarettes like it was air. Everyone it seems like, what's wrong? I'm like, this will be I'm good.
Then he
I'm
accidentally,
good. You know.
then he accidentally eats the cigarette and smokes the burrito.
Ow, that hurt. Yeah.
It's all
I actually
good.
smacked myself on
Well,
that.
I
Well,
hope that this comes because my son is a huge horror fan. Yeah, I'm probably breaking all the stereotypes of what I said earlier, but my son is a huge horror fan, and he's actually never seen Evil Dead. I've been trying to get him to see Evil Dead for a while, and we just haven't found the right time for him to see it. And so, I mean, he's 15, and I would love to be able
Has
to
he
take
seen
him to
Evil Dead 2? Has he seen Evil Dead 2?
No.
Start him with number 2.
Yes.
Then
Well,
go
see,
to number 1.
That's my plan because that's how I saw it when I was like 12
I
or
saw
13.
Army number 2 and then number 1. I saw them in
Okay.
reverse order.
Yeah, see, I saw 2 first, and then I saw Army of Darkness, and then later on I saw 1. And yeah, I appreciate the fact that I saw 2 now the way that I did. But yeah, like that's been the thing. Like we've been trying to look for a time for him to see it because he's blown through, you know, couple decades now worth of horror films, you know, in the last few years. And so and his room is like all like horror
Nice.
figures and posters and stuff like that. People look at me sometimes. My ex-wife looks at me sometimes and goes, what's the deal here? Like what happened? And I'm like, look,
Does he have a machete under his bed? Is he talking in tongues?
oh man, I tell you what,
Like-
but he loves the stuff, man. But he's, you know, and it's funny because when we first bought this house like 5 years ago, he would not stay in his own room. Like he was scared to death of the dark. And I used to tell him, Landon, it'll be okay, man. There'll be a day and time when you'll be thankful that you have your own room to just go into. And he's like, no, Dad, never, never, never. And then it's like now it's like I go in there, he's got the lights off, he's got like, you know, Chucky and you know, clowns and all kinds of crazy killer stuff, you know, and Freddy stuff and everything. And I'm like, man, you really got over that, didn't you? You really like got over the hump there. And so he loves this stuff. So I really hope that this comes to our area because this would be an awesome opportunity for us to do that and for him to see those films.
It's how I view, like, it's what I call like the once in a lifetime experiences.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, like when I remember when Transformers came out in 2007. That was when the big IMAX push happened. Oh, real quick. I want to hold on. I want to get this here. LRAK reacts $2 super chat. Thank you very much, sir.
Woo!
Saying his favorite movie is Curse of the Golden Flower. I'm actually unfamiliar with that one.
Me too.
Let me look it up. It's a 2000.
All right. Oh, he froze up. While he's frozen, he'll be back. Matt will be back. There is still a few things to look forward to. Thank goodness The Boys finished filming, and season 2 is going to premiere in September. It's going to be weekly. The Mandalorian season 2 so far, and man, we got that fandom, the DC fandom, to look forward to. Man, I can't wait till that comes out. There's another DC event coming up, Jarbo's Corner, and that's where I'm at.
Because
Woo! Yeah.
that's where we're laughing at that shit. That's good. That's a funny one.
What is going on?
I don't know what's happening right now. I'm
That's
scared.
pretty much how his show looks like half the time. Like they just walk by the camera and the camera like.
Oh yeah, when they do the live stream and like I've seen it where like he gets the microphone and he goes up and he's trying to like get in front of the camera like and talk and preach. It's such a weird thing.
Oh, don't show off your toys again.
I wasn't trying.
Nah, he's gonna hijack me. Thanks a lot, Enosh. He hijacked my stream. I couldn't get it back.
Oh my gosh.
People was like, "Who's this Max guy?" I want to see toys.
No.
Minister of Toys.
Pastor of Muppets.
Yeah.
Man, I'm looking at some of the photos here of the Curse of the Golden Flower, and they really have a lot of cleavage on that one woman.
Okay.
Like,
Sold.
and I'm just saying. Well, here, like I'll show you.
Enosh Fett.
Like, I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is like, you Google it and you're like, this is what.
Is this what you wanted, Elrac? reacts. You like the Rex, and it's in your name.
I'm just hold on, let me find that image. Like it just is like the first thing that pops up is
sure, man.
is that
okay?
And you're just like, oh, okay, cool. Like I can dig it. And then like the next image is this one, and
wow.
And I'm like, you don't normally see that in these kind of movies. So
I'll be honest, you're lying. You're lying if you didn't say that's the first thing you noticed. I'm sorry.
There's a lot of color.
That's why I talked about it.
Did you notice the gold in that picture?
Yes, there's a lot of
there's a lot of gold. There's a lot of gold.
Wait, bring that back up. I want to see the gold again.
Oh, I actually just deleted both of them.
Bring back the gold. That's what I was looking at.
I'm here for the articles. I mean the gold.
I can honestly say I've never once read an article in Playboy. So, but I had a subscription for 2 years.
Oh, okay.
It was free. I don't know how I got it for free. No, it's true. I ended up getting a free subscription for
Do they still have it?
No, the magazine's gone. They do the digital stuff now, but like a friend of mine worked in the same complex as Playboy Publishing in Burbank. Mm-hmm. And I went to go hang out with him one day at lunch, and I pulled up, and it's just nothing but like the models are walking by. And I'm just sitting in my car going, what? Like, I'm in the wrong business. That's the thing with LA is it's very difficult to not like, you have to train yourself to not be a rubbernecker, because all the women go to LA and they're just all like attractive. And it's just, it's like, if you cannot talk to attractive women, you will not do well in LA. I learned that my very first week there. I had to interview this one woman who was just like a 10 out of 10. And I was trying to I'm really trying to think of what I want to say, and I can't. My brain shut down. I was like, it was so terrible. It was so terrible. But then after a while, you just kind of stop caring. But it's like in that first initial, you're like, oh my God, and it's a human response. Like it's not, it's like, it's attractive people. It's just I went to a Kylie Minogue concert twice. Because my buddy wanted to take me, and he, and when I kept telling him, get a date, not me, get a date. And he's like, I can't find a date, but I'll take you to go see this concert. And the thing is, Kylie Minogue is really pop. She did like the Can't Get You Out of My Head song. Yeah. And she was Cammy in Street Fighter, which is why I wanted to go see her.
I didn't know she was.
Yeah, she was Cammy in Street Fighter. And so,
now I'm a fan.
So we go there, and like literally every gay guy from West Hollywood was at this concert at the Hollywood Bowl. And these are, keep in mind, these are very fit, attractive men. And we walk in, two fat, bearded bastards. I've never been more eyeballed in my entire life. I was flattered.
Wow.
And but the thing is, like, it's not hard to get distracted by attractive people, whatever, men, women, whatever. Like, it's just, you see it. So that's the thing with like living in LA. It really is kind of funny. I think we're also drawn to beauty, and when it's that kind of cleavage, it's just it's very distracting. That being said, Ryan Hartwell here says, sold on the gold.
See, Ryan's in the right place. Ryan's in the right mindset. He's
Inhuman says here, I'm sold. And then also, I love Kylie Minogue. Yeah, she's great.
I'll be honest, I'm going to check out that trailer.
Yeah. Max is all like, I gotta go to bed here in a minute. Check my battery life. My phone's doing pretty good, and I'll be in the bathroom.
Trailer reaction come into the Mad Max channel.
Well, I think at this point, like, you kind of have to do those kind of things too. Like, I don't want to do trailer reactions, but at the same time, you have to do trailer reactions.
Here's the other secret of my channel. I'm like, it's less risk to react to other YouTubers than trailers with the copyright.
Surprisingly, yes, that is actually true. Yeah, that's actually true.
I mean, people hate me more, but I don't care.
Well, trailer reactions are a funny thing, because like I never really watched trailer reactions or reactions of any kind. And then it was funny because we kind of did it by accident one day. We just kind of reacted to something, and all of a sudden, like, all these people were like, hey, this was great. Can you react to this? Can you react to this? And it was like, okay. And so, like, when we were starting off our channel, that was kind of like the thing. We were just,
what are the secrets to doing it without getting copyright? Because I'm going to have to do audio something with the audio. Like I was thinking of playing it with my iPhone and not share the
Yeah.
audio on the
So-
stream.
So I'll tell you what we do, and we still get it kind of weird every once in a while. But I mean, like we take the audio that's on the TV. We don't put the audio in, you know. So
Yeah.
like we'll put the video in and
When
stuff.
it's clear audio, it messes you.
But it's absolutely. And like I tried the thing where it's like you chop it up and you talk, you know, because the people were telling me, oh, if you chop it up every few seconds and you watch it, you know, and you talk about it, you won't get hit. And like all I got was like just tons of comments that were like, this sucks. I'm tuning out because you chopped it up or whatever. And I was like, come on, give me a break. I'm trying to figure out how to do this because you guys want us to do this. And so what I found is, man, is you're going to get hit every once in a while. I find it ironic. I have never, knock on wood, never gotten anything claimed by Disney. Not once.
Wow.
Not once.
They're pretty
But-
good about that. Fox is
I got Warner. I got
Warner is the
Warner
worst.
Brothers-
Warner's is the worst.
Warner Brothers is right up there. I've had
But they're
two
giving us the
copyright
Snyder cut though.
Yeah, I know, but Warner Brothers, and that's
But
the
you
most
can't
ironic
react to
thing.
it.
That's the most ironic thing, man, is like we are so, you know, Warner Brothers positive. And so it was weird because for a while we'd get these, you know, and then of course you got to, you know, try to dispute it or whatever. And it was like I one day I kind of came up with the magical words apparently to dispute it. And they have dropped everyone since.
Okay.
Now it was weird. It was like I had to like formulate this thing kind of explaining what we're doing and stuff. But but then again, my channel's gotten hit with two copyright strikes in the last year that have both gone by the wayside because they don't follow up on them and they're not really striking it, but it's really just a bot. And it's just from us doing a watch party where we're literally sitting we're not showing anything. We're just sitting on the couch, but you know, the bot hears, you know, something in the background. So it's just weird, man. There's no secret formula. I researched that whole thing and there's just no rhyme or reason to it, man. You know?
Yeah, it's the way I view it is it's all a gamble anyway, right? Because I've had it where I've had it to where like I did a trailer reaction to Logan, the very first trailer for Logan that came out in the end of 2016, and Fox blocked it worldwide. They blocked it worldwide. So what I did is I took it and I flipped it around and I added like a musical bed to it. And then like it got past it. But like you have to like do all these weird things. I mean, look, I understand why the content ID system is as aggressive as it is. I do.
Yes.
What I don't like is when these companies know specifically that it's a trailer and that it's specifically meant for marketing purposes and it's meant to be talked about and it's meant to be shared. And then they get mad at you.
It's because even though they know it's legal or it's legal to react, they get the money for that short period of time and then it comes back to you. Don't they get to keep that? I don't know.
Well, I mean, like if they copy,
They have they copy groups, they tag a bunch of channels.
Yeah,
Money.
So the studios will like hire third-party companies whose job it is to like search through YouTube and do that. And then the idea essentially is that, you know, you appeal it and then they approve the appeal and then it's restored back to you. Any money earned during that time, it goes into an escrow account. So it's held until it's until you win. So there's that. The thing to consider though is that a lot of times you have a lot of these assholes, these companies that are just dicks that just do it because they're like, they know that you're not going to sue them. Because the way it works is if you appeal it and they deny your appeal, you can then do a secondary appeal. And if they deny that appeal, you get an option for a third appeal. And then that third appeal is, if they have to sue you if they deny it. Now, that might actually be the saving grace because if everyone just did that, these companies are not going to sue you. They're not going to sue you over that. Like they're at that point, they're being legally told that they have to then file the paperwork to sue you. And they're not going to do it because it's legitimately not worth the money to them or the time and the legal fees. But it's these third-party companies that act as a proxy that kind of have that like leeway, so to speak, to get around it. And it's really annoying. I mean, like I look at someone like Grace Randolph and it's like, you know, she grows her channel by doing the trailer reactions. And then and that's a large part of it. The thing that sucks for me is I'm on the West Coast. So they'll drop these trailers at 4 in
Yeah.
the morning, and they don't give any warning when the trailers are coming out. So I have no
Yeah.
idea. I wake up and it's like 6
She
hours
knows.
later.
She's ready.
She's ready to go with, with no good microphone and no good webcam, and it's just
Yeah.
like, hi, I'm Grace. We're going to talk about this. Oh, it's done now. Thank you. Bye.
Well, I like Grace.
I like her too. I like her too.
But she's as big as she is because she was one of the OGs and she used to do that and interview people. I liked it when she interviewed people coming out of the theater.
That kind of stuff is fun. That instant reaction thing is a lot of fun, and people like that because it feels like a slice of life aspect. Hold on here. I just saw this one. $5 from Totaling Wolf. Woo!
Yeah.
Snap. He says here, if you're looking for a good sci-fi show to watch, check out Altered Carbon. It's pretty awesome. Just make sure you are out of the room first. Oh, your kids or your parents. I know there's a lot of full frontal male nudity in that show.
Oh, there's like violence, really aggressive violence and nudity. Yeah.
Nice. Because it was Cyberpunk 2077 on the horizon for November, and they just did that big gameplay reveal the other day. I'm like, I really should dive into Altered Carbon because I know Joel Kinnaman was like the Avatar in season 1, and I'm a big Joel Kinnaman fan because like The Killing is my jam. If you've never seen The Killing, that is an excellent show.
I saw the first season. I never saw the second.
The second season wraps up the storyline from the first season. And then the third season is an entirely new storyline that is good. It's really solid. You should check out the rest of the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, they, and then they got the new guy for season 2. And I've heard season 2 is better than season 1 by some, but not as good as some other people.
It's different. I watched both. It's an interesting watch. Interesting. The first one, I was like shocked by some of the stuff. Then the second, they kind of back away from that kind of.
Yeah. Hold on here. Inhuman Quake says, I like Grace. She spoiled The Last Jedi for me and Batman versus
But did
Superman.
she give you a warning before she spoiled it for you?
I'm sure she did. Like I've been accused of that when I covered my review of the series finale of Clone Wars because it had popped up in the New Zealand Disney Plus store first, like 18 hours early. For some reason, I'm like on my I watched it through a VPN on my laptop, and then I recorded my review of it. And this guy just goes like, he just gets all mad. He goes like, my kids watched your review and they cried. I'm like, but I didn't like. But I say it's spoilers. Like I'm talking about the series finale of an amazing show. Like I'm going to talk about spoilers.
Yeah.
Like that's going to happen. That's not going to change.
Yeah.
Wow. Another $10 from H Bar.
Oh my
Dude,
gosh.
you are.
Woo!
I can't even. Man, that's solid. Thank you. Thank you, man. He says here, how did you get into old horror movies and just old movies in general? For me, it was when my dad. I'm 19 currently, but my love for old movies and horror started when I was 3 years old.
Wow, yeah,
Wow.
you have more money than I did when I was 19.
Well, yeah,
You're big pimping.
Shh. Don't scare him away. No, I appreciate. Thank you so much, man. For me, I'll tell you. For me, a big part of it was like I just loved watching movies as a kid. So like my mom told me the very first movie she took me to go see was Return of the Jedi in 1983. I was born in 82, so I was a year old. And she's like, when you watch that movie, you didn't make a sound. You just watched it in the theater at 1 year old. To which case my response was, you took a 1-year-old to a movie? To a Star Wars? What is wrong with you? Why would you do that to other people? I say this because I have cussed out parents who have brought their
Oh yeah, I can't stand that.
Finding Nemo is a good movie, and I wanted to watch it without a child interrupting. Okay, I stand by my.
Someone
decision.
brought a baby to when I saw Kong Skull Island, and Kong going, "Rah!"
Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
Well, so getting into the old horror movies, a lot of it for me was like I'd watch them with my stepdad. Like, the first R-rated movie I ever saw, it was 5, and my mom went on a date with some guy. They went and saw RoboCop, which pissed me off because I really wanted to see RoboCop. But my mom had her friend watch me, and her friend's boyfriend brought over Bloodsport.
Ooh.
So the very first R-rated movie I ever saw was Bloodsport, which I don't think that's a bad call. I love that movie. Frank Dukes. Like, they don't need. They're talking about remaking it too, which is just no, don't do it. Don't do it. And then for me also, like, I would go to the library and I'd rent movies. I would go and I'd rent VHS movies. I remember one night in particular, I was there and I rented Alien and I rented Halloween, and I was like 11, and they let me The 90s
Yeah.
were glorious times.
Oh yeah.
And I go home and my stepdad's like, all right, what'd you rent? And I'm all like, wham. And he's all like, are you serious? He's like, okay, we'll watch them. You
Yeah.
know, he's like, you're going to get scared. I'm like, I'm not going to get scared. I was scared shitless.
Little Matt Jarbo in the corner.
No, I went to go see Arachnophobia in the theater with my friends and their family one night. They invited me to go with them, and I'm like, yeah, you know, and they had just come out, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'll go see Arachnophobia. That was at 93, so I think I was 11. Yeah, I was like 10 or 11 at the time. And my mom goes, are you sure you want to go see a movie about spiders? And I'm like, yeah, I'll be fine, Mom. I don't know what you're talking about. She's like, are you really sure you want to go see me? I'm like, yeah, I'll be fine. It'll be good. It's all good. I don't know what you're talking about. Holy crap, I didn't sleep that night.
Oh boy.
I could not. Arachnophobia is a legitimately frightening movie
Yeah.
in a number of ways. But it's also at this point, like it's aged where it's campy enough to where you can still laugh at a lot of it.
Yeah.
But like the scene when like the spider came out of the dude's nose still freaks me out because where I live, we actually have brown recluses.
Yep.
All over up here. Like there's like a bunch above my door that I got to get rid of. And so like, and they're aggressive, you
Yes.
know, and they look like the goddamn spiders from fucking Arachnophobia. And so every time I see one, like I pulled in my driveway a couple nights ago and I have my high beams on and it's like, you know, midnight. And there was a big ass brown recluse on my garage door and the lights hit it and it just amplified the shadow.
Oh no.
So I pull in and it looks like there's this like massive fucking brown recluse on my garage. And I'm like, I just sit in the car for a minute. I'm like, it's not real. It's not real. It's not real. And then I got up, I turned the light off, it shrinks down and I go out there and I look and I'm just like, okay, it's not going to kill me. It's not going to kill me. But that's how I grew up watching a lot of this stuff. I grew up watching movies any way I could. I remember going to my friend's house and we watched like they would record the movies off HBO.
Yeah.
And so like we sat there one night, we did like Sleepaway Camp 3, which is a god awful, terrible horror film. But when you're a kid,
Yeah.
you ever heard of Sleepaway Camp? It's like the crying
Oh,
game,
man.
but in a horror movie setting at a camp, right? Yeah. Like if you ever get the opportunity, I love it. If you ever get the opportunity, look up the VHS box art of
Yes.
Sleepaway Camp.
Yes, that's
Because
how I
it's-
remember it, dude.
Right?
That's
Because it's that note. It's the note from the counselor, like just retelling the events and everything. And at the end of it just goes, wait, I hear something coming, like something outside my tent, ... blood spatter. Right. And like, that's the description on the VHS box art. Like that's what I miss the
Oh,
gloriousness of those box arts. And so you had all that happen. And those were all like, then that's how I got into watching all this stuff. Like we would just watch these random horror movies and the stuff you see like Dolls, the movie Dolls. That movie scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. You ever see that one? It's
I think I've seen it. I think I saw it once actually
yeah.
with my
I'm
background story of how I got into movies. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a total noob to horror.
Oh, dude,
I
there's
gotta
so
get in,
much.
and I wear a mask. I'm ashamed.
but hold on. We got another one from H.
No!
Mars. We got
Oh,
another one from H.
Is he up to 100?
He's this I feel bad for keeping track, but I think this is like 70.
Okay.
Hey man,
my
I
God.
thank you so much for that. He says, speaking of going to the video store, even though I'm 19, I was still around for the renting of VHS
Okay.
tapes. I used to rent Goosebumps a lot, and also none of my friends know how VHS tapes work. Oh, dude, you need to get a better group of friends.
Oh,
For one,
absolutely.
those are worth money now.
yeah, Be Kind Rewind. That was
Oh
a
my
thing
gosh.
for. I used to work at Hollywood Video, and we had VHS like at the transition phase from VHS to DVD when DVDs were a novelty. You know, when like
Yes.
when it's like you had to like people didn't have a DVD player because they're so expensive, so we would rent them out, and you had to put down like a $200 deposit.
Oh my gosh.
And
They
I
sucked.
did that.
The first
I-
DVD players sucked.
Oh, they were terrible. They're still like 2-speed or whatever. They were god awful. They were so slow and so loud. I rented one. I took my paycheck from Hollywood Video and I put the deposit down because I wanted to see a DVD. You know, I'd seen one at a friend's. The very first DVD movie I ever saw was Disturbing Behavior, which
wow.
is such a good movie. If you, it's a good horror. It's a good thriller. I'd call it a
Yeah.
thriller.
Yeah, it's more of a thriller.
It's a thriller, but it's got like Katie Holmes and James Marsden and William Sadler, Bruce Greenwood. It's basically, think of like, what would you call it? You would call it like reprogramming, right? Like it's a reprogramming,
Yeah,
body
yeah.
horror sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. It came out like in '98. I actually have the actual one sheet. I think in my garage because I
Man, it's been
kept
so
it.
long since I've seen that movie.
Such a good movie. It was
I just
one of my
remember that
favorites.
movie being so good though.
It was, yeah, super, super fucking good. But that was like, that was my first DVD movie, so I rented it. And then what I rented was I think we had The Great Escape. And so I rented The Great Escape and watched it on Blu-ray. And the reason why I did that, or on DVD, was because I was in San Diego a few months earlier, and we were staying at a nice hotel. We were in the process of moving from Oregon to San Diego, so they were down looking at houses. And The Great Escape was playing on the hotel TV. And I ended up watching like the last half of it and falling in love with that last half of that movie. So I rented the DVD of The Great Escape so I could sit there and watch it. And I still, to this day, I'll find myself humming dun 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 dun. Because you get those songs, those iconic ass songs.
Oh,
and
for
shit.
sure, for sure.
So I mean, for me, video stores, dude, drive-in movie theaters, I love all that shit. I'll tell you this, I don't know if you saw H-Barts, if you saw, I was doing that Blu-ray therapy show. I don't know if you guys saw that. I was doing that for a little bit. So Blu-ray, it's a smaller thing. What it was is I wanted to go to like Walmart and like Target and Best Buy every week and just look to see what new movies came out. And then like this, I have a little pocket camera and shit. And I would do all that. And then I got yelled at Best Buy. They don't like me filming in there, but I want to bring it back, but I want to go to like Goodwill and like go to thrift stores or more. Or I'll tell you the best part. What I love is I love the hunt.
Yes.
I love the hunt for Blu-rays. So what I love to do, and you guys can do this yourself, go to any 7-Eleven, or most 7-Eleven should have this, and you'll find it somewhere in the 7-Eleven. They have just a random Blu-ray section. And it's just movies they buy, and some of them have, and most of them don't even have cases. They're just like in the sleeves. They come from Redbox. And you can find such a wide variety of different movies that are like good. And you can get them. Like I found, I was looking on there by one of them and I found Snakes on a Plane.
Oh, nice.
But I had recently bought that from FYE used for $5. Then that came with the case. Because Snakes on a Plane, such an underrated fucking movie. Such an underrated film. But we got another $10 one from H-Barts.
Dude.
Whoa, H-Barts.
Damn, man.
The most powerful in the universe.
This is I think
crazy.
This is crazy.
Insane.
He's throwing it down, man. I really appreciate that. I took the night off of driving, so I'm very happy. Thank you, man. No, we'll have to do a you know what H-Barts, I'm gonna have you do?
Blu-rays here.
Oh, what do you got there? What do you got? I see those are 4Ks, they look like.
Oh yeah, I collect steelbooks. I have a huge collection.
Is that Shazam? Did I see Shazam?
I gotta redeem this. This is why it's downstairs. I didn't redeem the digital. I every once in a while I redeem digital copies. I have this even though people didn't like it. I liked it. I had my problems with it, but the action was good. Even though they say it was woke with Mackenzie and she looked like,
No, it wasn't
she
woke
looked
at all.
No.
Well, here, let's get to
Alita.
Oh, that is a sexy steelbook.
It's 3D. I still have 3D.
Have you seen that movie, Enosh?
No, I have not seen Alita yet.
You're missing out. You are missing out, man.
It's a good movie.
You are missing out.
Is it really? Because I'll be honest with you, when I saw it, like I have no backstory for Alita or whatever, and man, seeing that in the theater, the previews and the trailers and stuff, it just didn't really do anything for me. So that's
it's Rodriguez directing. So if you're a Rodriguez fan, so you kind of know what to expect there. James Cameron produced and James Cameron written script. So I mean, I'm pretty sure Rodriguez tweaked some of it. Obviously, he will. But that's a pretty good. Oh, you got Sonic the Hedgehog.
He just held up the King of Comedy. King of Comedy. So I just saw that movie
I never
for the
watched
first
it.
time. I just saw it for the first time last year in the prep that I was doing for that's nice.
Jesus. This is like you buying lots of stuff, man.
No, for the prep up to the Joker, I watched King of Comedy and I was like, wow, how did I miss this movie?
Oh, people aren't gonna like this. Birds of Prey.
I love that.
I should have waited. It went on sale.
It's not my favorite film, but I didn't hate it. Hate it. But anyway, I want to make sure I get to this comment. So speaking of arachnophobia, I have arachnophobia pretty bad, and it all started with that movie. And I used to get a lot of spiders in the house when I was 5 or 6. I want to rewatch it to beat my phobia.
Okay.
That is a bold move. I recommend actually something a little bit different. Don't lead in with arachnophobia. Okay. When it comes to trauma, you want to face it head on, but you don't want to you don't want to dive back in unprepared. I would recommend Eight-Legged Freaks. Start
There you
with
go.
that one. That's a
Yes.
David Arquette movie from 2002. 2003, I believe, was when that one came out. And it's very campy and it's very over the top. It's very much a monster movie. And but it's a lot of fun because it's like radioactive spiders grow to be huge and they start like assaulting a town and the town has to fight back, and it's just it's kind of like if you like Snakes on a Plane, you will like Eight-Legged Freaks and then go into Arachnophobia. But yeah, I would start with something along those lines. Don't dive right back into Arachnophobia. It might trigger you, but if you start with something funny and stupid, you'll be happy. I think you'll be a lot happier with it. There's what was that one there? Flash. Oh, you got Flash Gordon 40th. Wow.
Nice.
Either I saw parts of it when I was growing up. Justice League.
Nice.
I know. I really hope the Snyder Cut gets a physical release.
Let's see. Campbell here says Eight-Legged Freaks. Great minds. Damn straight, dude.
I'll just show one more. I got this and I didn't see it yet. I like to buy the steelbook and then redeem my digital copy. And it didn't. It's the first time I ever got a steelbook. It didn't have a digital copy. I called Best Buy. They're sold out of this one. This one's hard to get, the steelbook. So I haven't watched it yet because I don't usually pop them in the player.
Now, Matt, you brought up You brought up.
Here's the only steelbook I have with me right now. Mass Effect Andromeda. Oh, I never actually got I bought the game and I returned it without ever opening it, and they gave me the steelbook. So it's an empty steelbook. It's totally empty, but I've got the steelbook for it. It's a nice steelbook. And then I've got this Sector 7 comic from Bumblebee when Paramount sent me the Blu-ray to review. I did not like that movie.
That was a good movie.
I've had complaints with it.
I disagree.
Let's see here. The video game NPC Orange Man Bad. $8 super chat. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate that. Says, anyone seen the 2019 horror movie Come to Daddy starring Mr. Frodo? No, I think I've heard of it though. Is that the one he's a teacher? Oh no, that was Cooties. That was Cooties he was in. Come to Daddy. No, I don't.
I missed that one.
Come to Daddy.
Come to Daddy. Yeah.
I missed that one.
Okay.
Matt,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say you brought back a flood of memories talking about like going to 7-Eleven and finding movies there and like how you got into movies and stuff. I mean, like I remember when VHS was all the rage. The way that I really got into movies was I had a friend who had a VCR, and he was like the only kid in the neighborhood, who had a VCR. And his family had all these bootleg, VHS movies because they'd rent movies and then they'd tape them off, and stuff. And so I remember they had this cabinet and we'd go over there and it was like going to the movie store because you'd go there and he'd just be like, what do you want to watch? And I mean, I watched so many movies for the first time that way. I mean, Back to the Future, Nightmare on Elm Street series. The first time I ever saw Silver Bullet by Stephen King. Stephen King. I mean, that movie still freaks me out. Just so many movies that I saw for the first time that way. And then I remember I loved box art. I loved that. And our local grocery store, they had this whole huge section because back then, all of a sudden, like all these random places started popping up with video rental areas. And so our grocery store had this huge video rental area. And I remember every time my grandma would go shopping, I would just go and look at box art for movies and just think, man, I want to watch this movie and I want to watch this scary movie and I want to watch this other movie here that I'll probably never see because my grandma will never let me. But I bet you my friend Wayne will get this one and I can go watch it at his house, And yeah, I mean, like I remember the first two movies that I ever remember buying myself. Besides, I bought the Star Wars trilogy for the first time on VHS. I put it in layaway at Kmart and paid it off with my own money at 10 years old. But the first movies that I remember like actually like ever pre-ordering or doing anything like that was Batman '89 and of course Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And that was because our party store had a little rental place and they had a sign up that you could pre-order those movies when they came out. And so, that kind of stuff, like going to the party store and seeing movies up. I mean, is just that
Well,
brought back a flood of memories.
Before we get to the big the super
Yeah, because we got a couple of them to get through real quick. We got a couple.
I had something to ask for Enosh. When you were growing up, did your parents buy you lots of action figures, or were you not? You got it, or did it become later? We're like, I could buy it myself. I could get what I want. I'm very interested to hear because.
Well, my grandmother, I was raised by my grandma, and I was the oldest. I ended up having two sisters, and so my grandma, yeah, I mean, she bought me toys. I mean, I had tons of Star Wars stuff when I was a kid and everything, and then I went up from Star Wars to G.I. Joe stuff, and I had some Transformers, and I had different things like that. But I was the kid who took care of my stuff. Right. Like all my friends, like their Transformer or their G.I. Joes, none of them had crotches or thumbs, and stuff. Like all my stuff was together. And when I was done with them, I'd put them up and everything. So I had that stuff even into adulthood. And the funny thing is, Max, I sold it all. I got rid of it all. And I didn't have anything. I literally had my original Boba Fett action figure, and that was it. And then my ex-wife, when we started dating, she started telling her family and friends and stuff that I was a big Star Wars fan. And when Star Wars came back in '89, all of a sudden for every birthday, Christmas, special event, whatever, everybody bought me Star Wars stuff. And so that's how it really started. Like one day I came home and there was a cardboard cutout of Obi-Wan Kenobi in my living room. And I'm like, well, where did this come from? And she was like, well, some lady who's friends with my sister who you've never met was at a garage sale and picked it up for $2 and they brought it by the house. And I'm like, okay. And so like, I never set out to be this guy. I joke about it all the time. I never set out to be the guy like with a ton of toys or whatever. But the thing was like, once I had stuff, it was like, well, okay. So my brother-in-law's girlfriend bought me a Millennium Falcon because she found it for $25 in the box, like at some like aftermarket place. And so I was like, well, now I've got another Millennium Falcon. Like, well, I got to have figures to put in it, right? And so then you go out and you start like, I got to get those. And then it was like, okay, I'm just gonna get the main characters, and then they would like put out some other character that you'd like, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna get that. And before I knew it, I had kind of a respectable little collection. And then honestly, I built that up for a couple years. And then after episode 3 came out, my son was born and I kind of put everything away. My sister came to live with me. So I packed everything up, put it away. And for probably about 4 or 5 years, I didn't collect anything. And that was it. When Tiffany and I got married and episode 7 was coming out, all of a sudden I started finding grail pieces that I couldn't find before, like these holy grail pieces that I had been looking for years. I would find them at local like thrift marts and places. And so I remember I found an AT-AT that I really wanted and something else. And Tiffany just looked at me and goes, "You're going to get into this again, aren't you?"
Let me show you something real quick. So, I live in Washington. There's a small town about 45 miles west of here called Aberdeen. Very small town, not a lot there. They have one shop though. You guys can see this here. It is the Star Wars shop.
Oh, dude.
And I have a bunch of footage. I went there last 4th of July and he was open and I got to go check it out. And I still have this flyer on my desk because this guy does buy, sell, trade, literally anything Star Wars related.
Oh my gosh.
He will buy it. You can find it in there.
Oh my gosh.
It's such a cool little store. I need to go back and interview this guy a bit because I got a bunch of footage. He was letting me film in there and everything else for like 20 minutes while I had some downtime. Mm-hmm. But real quick on the collector thing, I don't do a lot of purchasing on the collector side. I just don't, but I do collect pieces every once in a while. This is the one I had on my wall. I just took it down. This is actual replica claws of Logan. This was sent to me by IMAX. They were back when Logan came out. You can see it's like experience it in IMAX. So when Logan came out, they had gone on this weird, I guess you could say like influencer kick or something. Mm-hmm. And so, there we go. Sit down. They had, a DM on Twitter, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to go see Logan in IMAX?" And I'm all like, "Yeah." Like, who doesn't, Right. And they're like, "Well, can we send you like tickets?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they go, "Okay, cool." So they asked for my address. I gave them my address and they mailed me the movie tickets as well as those replica claws.
Oh man.
And so that's been on my wall right next to my YouTube play button that I have for my other channel hitting 100,000 subs. And I just love, for me, it's like very, I don't get a lot, but that is because it's such a unique item.
Absolutely.
And it's
Absolutely.
like I people like, oh, you're gonna sell it? I'm like, no, I'm not gonna sell it. It's gonna go back on my fucking wall. You
Yeah.
know, I love that thing. So yeah, I don't do a lot of that kind of collecting. I mean, because I've never done it. I think I've got I don't even want to show you because I think you would just yell at me because I just took very poor care of these things. Actually, you know what? Hold on, I'll show you. You're gonna yell at me. You're gonna fucking yell at me, and then I'm gonna get the
Okay.
super chats.
We get
Okay. Okay.
to the
Yeah, but no, so that's just kind of how it happened, Max. And I got back into it, and then the family kind of got into it with me, and so it's just kind of become a thing. We just have fun with it, man.
Yeah, I became a collector of video games and movies and stuff because I was poor as hell growing up. And my mom, my parents loved me. I love
So,
them, but they got me whatever was in the bargain bin. So
all right, again, you guys are gonna hate me for this one.
Uh-oh.
Yes, I'm already.
So, this is Ash, Army of Darkness.
Yes. Yes.
I got this at Comic-Con 2000. I didn't take the best care of it. The yellow is because I smoked in my house. Yeah, I know. I didn't think much about it at the time. You never really do.
Yeah.
When you know. And
Yeah.
I've been smoke free for 14 years and a couple months. So
Oh,
I'm
good for you,
so
man.
I'm very happy
Good
with
for
that. So I have that deal. But I've also got
Whenever you think about having one, you just look at that cover.
yeah. Well, then
right.
I did find Evil Ash.
Ooh.
And again, I just didn't take very. But I got this from Comic Con like 2010 or something.
Yeah.
So it's like years down the road, I found it, and these are like the only two I have. They've been in a bag, but I'm not the best taking care of stuff. So like they're that. But Army of Darkness is like one of my all time favorite movies.
Mhm.
And I love Bruce Campbell. I went to E3 2000. I was 18. I took the day off of high school. Like I played hooky, took a Greyhound bus from San Diego to Los Angeles in order to go and see Bruce Campbell at E3. I had to fake my way into E3, which back then was super easy to do. Literally just made a business card on Microsoft Word, printed it out, showed it to them, and they're like, "Come on in." I'm like, "Yes." And then I went and I got to meet Bruce Campbell to get his autograph really quick. When I ended up not getting the autograph because I was the last person there and they had blocked me with surprisingly this toy, this particular figure. So a couple years later when I could find it, I ended up getting it. But yeah, these are the you know, I mean, I see your pristine collection and then I'm like, ooh, I totally fucked that one up.
Dude, trust me, you're seeing it from like I got junk all over the place here. But the thing is like what I always tell people about collecting is get the stuff that means something to you, right? Like I don't suggest to people to go out and start like collecting everything. You know what I mean? Like this brings back my childhood. That's what this stuff is. You know what I mean? Is and some of it's an extension because I didn't have some of this stuff when I was a kid. And obviously some of these things are newer things. But you know, I always people come in here all the time and they'll be like, oh man, you could sell all that and make tons of money and you know, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that's never why I got into it. I've got some things that, yeah, I could probably sell, but it's about enjoyment, right?
Yeah, that's how I view it. Yeah, for me, it's about
if you look at it and you enjoy it, Matt, then you know anything.
Well, for
like
me,
that.
it's buying the Blu-rays. For me, it's buying the Blu-rays. Like Max pulling out the unopened steel books. I'm like, yeah, that's totally me in a nutshell. I've got bins upon bins upon bins of unopened Blu-rays that I've bought over the years. I love finding weird, obscure movies that you wouldn't normally find on DVD or Blu-ray. Like one of the ones I have, it's super obscure. I found it at Walmart. It was, remember the Terminator Genesis?
Yeah.
So they did a video game. Not Genesis, sorry, Terminator Salvation. They did a video game. And someone in some random company took it and they turned it into a machinima. And then they put it on DVD. And I found it it was in like the checkout aisle at Walmart for like $7. And I went like, yoink.
Yep.
And it's about as bad as you might think. But the fact that it exists, and I'm like, this has to be in my collection. Yeah. Because it's a weird, random movie that you wouldn't expect exists. And like I used to go to Walmart every Tuesday and like buy what was ever new. You know, like whatever new movie came out, I would just buy it to have the DVD. And then when Blu-ray came around, I'm like, I gotta rebuy everything, you son of a bitch. At this point now, and then I bought, this is my own bad. And I swear to God, I get to the super chats. I know I'm trying to, we get talking and it's
ready.
We're getting there. I know. Oh, damn it. I lost my train of thought on that one.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It will come back to me at some point. Let's go into the super chats because there was a couple in there. Oh yeah, real quick. I just wanted to quickly go back to Orange Man Bad because he did drop that $8 there. He was talking about this one here, Come to Daddy, which according to Rotten Tomatoes is he's got that pedo mustache. That's the one where he had the pedo mustache.
Oh my gosh, that's better than Batman v Superman. We got to see that movie.
Yeah. No, you're thinking Justice League. You're thinking Justice League.
Justice League. Yeah, Justice League.
It's better than Justice League. So I'll have to check this one out. This just came out this year. It has my attention. I need to dive back into more horror 100%. So I don't want you to think we talked about it then moved on. I wanted to go take a look at it and give you the
Elijah Woods has gone like
he's made all the money from Lord of the Rings. He can just go and do what he wants.
Yeah.
So sure. Okay, there's that one. Then we have El Rack Reacts here saying $5. So thank you very much, man. Yes. Trash Compactor Kills and Child's Play 3 scared me for life. I was 5. I think I was afraid to use the bathroom because of it. What fucked me up with Child's Play 3 was not like that one. What got me was the dude who jumped on the live grenade and then just the grenade exploding on him. Like that's the one kill in that movie that stuck with me all these years. That and the Commandant dying from a heart attack and then Chucky just going, "Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me." Like I just love that line too. So there's
I didn't mind the new Chucky. It was different.
I haven't seen the new Chucky yet, but like
it was okay. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. Actually, I really liked it. It's just one of those things like when a character gets to that point and then you know that they're supposedly working on this TV series or whatever. It's like, well, what's the point of rebooting it? Like why reboot it?
Yeah, I'm going to go watch Don Mancini. I'm sorry. Like you just like I've already given like my trust to this franchise through him for years. When I was working at the theater that inspired the name $3 Theater, we did these cult movies and I would have to screen them. And one of the nights I had to screen Child's Play, the original Child's Play. I had to screen that. So I called my buddy up and he came in and we sat in this, 150 person auditorium by ourselves at like 1:30 in the morning and just watched Child's Play and 35 mil. It was so good.
Nice.
I'll tell you this. We did the same thing a week later. Warriors. Oh, that's such a good movie. I love Warriors. All right.
Yeah, I took my son to see the new Chucky movie when it came out. Him and I just did that thing, and he really liked it, and I really liked it. But does it have the same impact?
It's not Brad Dourif. I don't care. I love Mark Hamill, but it's not Brad Dourif.
Exactly, and that's how I felt. Like we didn't come out of it going, "Oh, that sucked" or anything like that. We absolutely love it. We own it. It is what it is. But yeah.
Nostalgia for the horror movies like you guys do. Like I enjoy it. Yeah. I'm starting to get. My wife likes horror movies a lot, but I'm fresh to it.
You'll get there.
Yeah, it's horror. Like again, a lot of horror is terrible. To be fair,
absolutely.
But the thing with horror though is like for one, it always plays on our base fears. There's generally always nudity. That's a plus.
Okay.
And people die in very vicious and violent ways, and that's part of the fun. I mean, that's like I had a friend of mine. I worked with him at the drive-in. He picked up dead bodies for the coroner's office.
Ooh.
Like that was his job for a while, and like it just totally desensitized him. And he's like, horror movies look more real than the shit that I've picked up, And so like, but he watches horror constantly, and we would watch these terrible horror movies that he would just download from the internet, and we'd watch them at work, and they were just so bad.
Yeah.
But those of us at the drive-in, as weird as this is to say, we loved movies. All of us loved movies so much. We didn't care. It was just a group of us hanging out, watching them on a laptop, and everyone's chain smoking cigarettes and adding running commentary. And then when it got to the nudity, it was replayed 3 or 4 times because a lot of those guys are dirty perverts, And so, but we would do this. Like we would sit out there and just watch really terrible movies all night long. Yeah. All right, let's get into the big one here. $20 super chat H Barts. This puts him at $100 for tonight. $100. Thank you. That is insane. Thank you so much.
Way to go. Way to go. Man. Like as a fellow creator and everything, and I don't know how you feel about this, Max, but I mean, like when we have people give super chats on our channel, like it's always just an honor because it means that somebody like literally live while you're watching. It's not because they had to watch a commercial before your video or anything. They're dropping their hard-earned money to say, I really appreciate what you're doing, what you're creating, what you're putting out into there. And so, hey, Well done, Matt, and well done.
Give it up to H-Barts, dude. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
It just goes to show, though, that's the relationship, like between creator and people who are watching. That's just awesome.
So he says here, because I want to make sure his comment is read and cherished. If you check out 88 Films, they have some good Jackie Chan classics on Blu-ray. They are 2K transfers and have the original Cantonese audio. You just need a region-free Blu-ray player, as they are UK Blu-ray. Oh, that's good to know, man. That's the thing where I'm at right now is like, I mean, as much as I love having the physical media, if it's easier through streaming or like I can just get it digital, like that's kind of where I'm at. Like, and I know that's like a part of me, but I'm always at war with myself over that because
free player is so needed anymore.
Yeah. I mean, well, and I remember back when you really needed to have the was it NTSC versus PAL?
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and it's like the different the different hertz, and we learned about this in college. And I was remember like looking through some stuff on like eBay, and like I want to get like a certain movie, and it's like
right. I bought something on eBay once that I thought was safe, and I got it home, and I was like so looking forward to watching it. And yeah, it turned out to be
it was like what, Region 2 or something like that. Yeah. You'd see a few of those.
No!
I'd get it. I've seen those pop up at like different conventions because you can find they'll have like them for sale over there, and they're just coded in, but then you can just jump online and you can just find, like you don't have to import it. You can just find it and get it. but I mean, you will legally or other, like I
was laughing at the new super check.
I haven't seen it. Let's go down. Hold on here. There's. Elrac here says the best worst movie is Velocipaster.
Oh my gosh!
Wait,
somebody sent me that. Somebody sent me a link to that once and said, Enosh, you have to watch this one because it's
the Velocipaster.
My father-in-law that passed away last year, he loved watching these cheesy horror movies and all. And then he was on Amazon all the time looking at this crazy stuff. He would.
Oh man! Well, we're watching this now, right? Like it's that is one of the worst puns I've ever heard in my entire life, and I have to say I'm entirely here for it. So let me just.
My wife loves that cheesy stuff, man. That's great.
I watched a lot of that crap growing up, and all right, let's. This is gonna be so bad.
That was the only Funko Pop he had, Sharknado.
The only Funko Pop I have that's not the bobblehead is I've got a Conan O'Brien one that was a Comic-Con exclusive because I saw him perform at Comic-Con back in 2015. Apparently it's worth a couple $100. Yeah. So it's just sitting in a bin. Let's check this out.
They followed me home. The Velocipaster. A troubled priest.
How long has it been since your last confession?
Oh, it's been about 2 years. I do drugs, sell drugs, murder people. The Velocipaster. A beautiful girl with a dark past.
Last night was amazing.
What are you talking about?
The time you turned into a dinosaur and ate someone.
What? Dinosaur.
You guys talk all the time about helping people. This might actually be the first time in your life you can.
By what? Killing people?
Yes.
Tell me you got better shit to do. Show me I'm the one who's figured like the match caress that trigger. Show me I mean anything to you. Show me I mean anything to you.
The Velocipaster.
That's insane, Doug. God does not want people dead.
Oh, I think God wants a lot of people dead.
I don't know what the hell it was we just watched.
I think so. I think that was Amazon a user created film. But man,
that's got to be I do drugs. I sell drugs. I murder people.
Doesn't want you to turn into a dinosaur.
Oh my god.
Oh, well, there's your calling, Enosh. There you go, man.
Oh my gosh.
Enosh's life story. You didn't know it's on Amazon. You're exposed.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Wow. Hey, you know what, Matt? Matt, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Because I've never been able to have a conversation with anybody, but I know that you love old cheesy movies like this and stuff. So, did you ever see the movie? I think it came out in like 80, 81, but it was called Super Fuzz.
I was born in 82, so
Okay.
yeah, it might be a bit like, I mean, most of my knowledge is like, late 80s to like current,
Okay.
especially 90s and 2000s, like really the 2000s. I was
There was I'm trying to think. I'd have to look it up, but anyways, it's on YouTube. You can see it on YouTube now. But I remember it was like one of those things that like you see when you're like really little and you don't remember if that was a real thing or if like you kind of made it up in your head. But it was on HBO and it was like this horribly cheesy movie that was basically about this cop who gets exposed to radiation and he gets all these superpowers where he can just like do like these amazingly awesome things, like he can walk on water or do these crazy things and perform these amazing feats, except for when he sees the color red. Anytime he sees the color red, the powers, like, is something about the radiation, like the powers come out of him and he loses. So like the way that they will display this is like these girls are playing with this beach ball and it goes out into the water out on the river. And so he's like, I'll go get that. And he walks out there and stuff and picks up the beach ball and looks at it, comes walking back. And as he's walking back, this girl comes out in a red bikini. And when she comes out in the bikini, he just like falls into the water. And it's just it's so bad. And I think it's got Ernest Borgnine in it, actually.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
And
well,
so it's
that's
like,
always good.
oh my gosh. And so but I keep trying to like meet somebody who knows of this movie because it's a movie that I remember from my childhood. I got a VHS copy of it actually. And it's a funny movie. It's like one of those things, man.
Yeah, well, there's like, I mean, like I grew up watching like Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh,
like
yeah.
a lot, like a lot. And it wasn't until I was older that I really realized like
probably got beat up too. Like
ooh.
oh,
which one? I'm not sorry, I'm moved away from that.
oh,
Okay. Well, in the meantime, while he's doing that one, H Bart's another $10 super chat. Another $10 one. Thank you so much. We got another one in here.
tired. I'm going.
He says here the movie that scared me as a kid was The Howling, especially the scene where the werewolf gets his hand cut off, and just listen to the howl still makes me creeped out. I never saw The Howling. I don't think I did. I know I need to.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I've seen Silver Bullet. Silver Bullet's amazing.
Yes. Oh, fantastic. Werewolf movies scared the crap out of me.
Yeah,
man, when I was
like
a kid.
Wolf was fucking frightening.
Oh.
Which one? The one I know I've seen it, but I don't remember. It was Dog Soldiers. It was a Neil Marshall movie.
Yes.
That's why when I heard that Neil Marshall was doing Hellboy, I was like, yeah. And I actually really liked Hellboy. I was one of the few that did.
Did you ever see the Alice Cooper one, Monster Dog?
No. But I did see
that
D. Snyder Strangeland.
I haven't seen that. No, I haven't seen that.
That was a fucking weird movie. That was a
he
weird
did.
movie.
Alice Cooper did one called Monster Dog, and he had like a music video in the middle of it, and it was like it was crazy, man. That movie was crazy. But no, you're talking about Revenge of the Nerds.
Wow!
I got to meet Betty last year, and it was so like amazing. Like
that's crazy.
Yeah, it was so cool. She was at our Comic-Con, and I kept walking past her, and I kept thinking, man. I watched that movie so much as a kid. That was like that was a coming of age movie if there ever was one. And I just said, I got to go talk to her. And so she decided to actually, because my wife went up there like with me. And so Tiffany and I went up there and she just put, "Oh God, I'm in love with a nerd."
Oh,
and
nice.
And then signed it, Betty. And so like, we got that up in the house, it's fitting for us. We're big.
Nice. No, that's cool, man. Yeah. I like those movies. I love 1 and 2.
Yes.
And then 3 and 4, I remember them airing on Fox.
Yeah.
I remember they put 4 was in 3D. Like you had to go, there's a 3D food fight sequence in number 4, and you had to go get the special glasses from 7-Eleven. They did the cross promotion with 7-Eleven.
Yep.
But the fact that they got Robert Carradine and they got Betty to come back for the 3rd and the 4th movie. And Ted C. McGinley came back even.
Right.
Like no ogre, which sucks because I love that guy. But yeah, I've seen those movies. Like I like those movies. They're so dumb. They're so fun. But it's still to this day, it's like
that's something like you got to revisit. haven't seen that forever.
It's the thing that like that's why when I talk about like my favorite Pixar movie is Monsters University. And the reason why is because to me you can tell how much Dean Scanlon was influenced by 80s college films. And if you really go and look at the way they broke down, the way they did Monsters University, it was exceptionally influenced by Revenge of the Nerds, just without the rape.
Yeah, that was I could never get, even as a kid.
That always
like,
struck me as weird. It always struck me as weird, and it has not aged well. But that's like, again, that's like really the only like
we talked
negative
to her
mark in
about
movie.
that. We talked
really?
to her about we talked to her about that a little bit because I told her, I said, you know, it was always strange to me that like he would do that, and then your character was just like, oh yeah, I'm in love with him now. Like it would just, and she said that it was really weird for her too.
Yeah.
That like everybody felt that it was a really weird part of the movie, that it didn't really make sense.
They needed to find a way to get the two of them together. I know that, like, but they could have done that like in a way where it wasn't sexual assault. And I think like, not that I think that it's ever influenced anyone to commit rape. I just don't think that. Like, I don't think anyone would look at that scene and go, this is okay.
Bad writing.
It's very bad writing, but I mean but otherwise it's such a good movie.
Yeah.
Like look at like, again, you've got John Goodman, you've got Curtis Armstrong, you've got, again, Robert Carradine, Anthony Daniels. I mean, such a good cast for that movie. And then, Donald Gibbs? That's Ogre, right? Donald Gibbs.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, and he, again, Bloodsport, right? Like, like all that shit. Great stuff. I love those movies. I love number 2, Nerds in Paradise, because Courtney Thorne Smith was in it.
Yes,
and then
yes.
That was always funny. And I still, every time I hear like, like burning down the house, I just think of, I in my back of my mind, I just go like lambda, 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 and omega moose. So I grew up watching that stuff, man. To me, like the 80s comedies are so much fun, even now to go back to, because they're dated as hell. They're dated as hell.
That makes it better.
But it's in some cases, yeah. But like when I mention like, when I talk about like Monsters University, because that's the one I watched with my daughter the most, because she wants to watch Monsters, and I just popped that one on. But you can so tell how much of it's influenced by that. Kind of like Onward, Dean Scanlon's next movie, Onward, you could tell was heavily influenced by his own childhood, his own father dying. So there's a lot of like, what I love about these films is like, when you start getting like the personal experiences of the creators and how they put that in the movie. I love it. Real quick side note, and we have a bunch of super chats to get through. Holy shit.
Wow.
You guys are coming in hot. You guys are coming in great.
Man.
Fucking, you guys are making my day. Superman Returns, which I do want to quickly say is underrated. I think at the time it was given a bunch of crap it didn't deserve, because it was too much like Richard Donner.
In his hallway. Oh, I'm drink. Oh, I dumped my drink.
But there's a scene at the end of Superman Returns where he's looking over his son, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And that scene kind of caught a lot of people off guard. It was a little bit out of character, it felt like. Like, why would he be looking over his son not knowing everything else? Well, Bryan Singer actually explained that at Comic-Con the next month when him and Richard Donner were there doing a panel on Superman Returns. And he talked about how one of the crew, might have been a gaffer, had, while they were filming it, had told this story about how him and his wife divorced and they had a son. And that the only way he was allowed to see his son was his wife would permit him to come in when the son was asleep.
Oh, wow.
And so he, as a father, was not able to have that interaction with his son unless it was in that scenario.
Man.
And they took that and they kind of paid tribute to it, in my opinion. And they put it on, and they put it in the movie. Yeah. And at first, when you don't know what that scene, the origins of that scene, it comes across as weird. But when you learn the origins, and he's saying this in a room with like 4,300 people, and you could feel everyone just go, wow, like, wow.
Because I'll never watch that the same way again.
No, it's got a deeper emotional meaning behind it. And I rewatched Superman Returns a while back, and I went on Twitter and I said, I owe Bryan Singer a fucking apology, man. I trashed that movie when it came out. I did. I trashed it when it came out.
Flip-flopped.
And I flip-flopped on it because that's the thing. Some of these movies, You
Yeah.
have to be older to understand them.
Okay.
And it's like it's kind of like looking in, and I've been talking about it a lot, Man of Steel and BVS, what Snyder brought to those stories and what David Goyer and Chris Terrio and that team, that creative team, brought to those stories. When you break it down philosophically, when you break it down by the relationship of father and sons in Man of Steel, sons and mothers in Batman v Superman, you can see the dynamic that Snyder created. You can see the dynamic that plays into it. And since my personal take is like, we have this big fatherless problem in our country and our society, not just here, but just in general. Like I do feel there's a big lack of fathers. And in media, fathers are generally always criticized and kind of belittled anyway.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And so when you get a positive response to something like that, it's like, it's one of the things, and again, I'm kind of getting deep here and I apologize, but like Phil Lord and Chris Miller, if you really look at Phil Lord and Chris Miller's body of work, it is all about fathers and sons. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Flynn and his dad didn't see eye to eye. His dad would use fishing metaphors to try to communicate. Flynn didn't get it. And they just had, but at the end of the day, it was just like, no, he wanted to impress his dad. And his dad was always impressed, but never had the words to say it. And then you had Mr. T and his son, little Cal. And he's always like, I love my son. Anything for my baby boy. I watch Cloudy at least twice a week now. My kids love it. And then you look at again, Lego Movie, a father and his son, a boy and his sister, that relationship, that dynamic. If you really look at the themes that they put out there, and look at Into the Spider-Verse. They produced it and it was their story. Miles and his dad.
Yep.
Right? It was, again, it's about the fathers and sons. And it's like showing that dynamic to me. And I don't have sons. I have two daughters, but I approach it the same way. It's like, I want to have that relationship with them. I want them to know that I'm here, that I'll always be here for them, that I love them immensely. My favorite thing to do tonight was usually I go delivering food and I don't put my kids to bed. But tonight, we were running around, my daughter and I chase each other around the living room. I'll chase her, she'll chase me and all that shit. And we laugh and I'm tossing her up in the air. She's 2. And then my other daughter is almost 1 or almost 11 months. And so we're now being able to toss her up. And so she's giggling and laughing. And it's just this is the moments, dude. This is what, this is what you live for, seeing this with your kids. And then, so when you can see something like that, when the deeper meanings come into these films that are they're layered within spectacle.
Yes.
And you can start breaking them down. It becomes this deeper, greater experience, which is how I tend to approach movies. People talk a lot of crap about Terminator Dark Fate. Okay. Not the best movie on the planet. But as I said, going into that movie, Tim Miller was the best director because Tim Miller would bring the heart into that project. And he did. If you go and you watch it, the heart was there. There was a lot of it. It was surprising, but it was a really nurturing film. And he was trying to convey this story about loss and grief and redemption and revenge and all of these things. But everyone focused on the fact, on the little bits of it instead of diving into the subtext. And so that, for me, it's that's how I get into these movies, by really diving into the subtext. And
I feel the same way, man.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. The reason why I'm a Superman fan is because of the father connection. I grew up without my dad. And so I grew up loving the character of Superman, not because he had superpowers, but because I felt like he was what a man should be, that he cared for the people that he loved and he was always there for them. And so that was something that meant something to me. So when I found out I was going to be a dad, that just totally made me want to be the best dad that I possibly could be. And when I found out I was going to have a son, it was even more so, because it was wow, okay, so I'm going to get to give this boy something that I never had.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because him and I have experienced so much through movies. His middle name is Jor-El. And, and so we've experienced so much through movies. And every once in a while, he'll look at me and go, "Dad, are you crying?" We'll be watching something. And anytime something comes up with fathers and sons in a movie, and a little bit of it too is about it was right after he was born, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and we didn't know what was going on. And I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" I go on my whole life, never been sick a day in my life, and then all of a sudden, my son's born, and 3 months later, I have a brain tumor that could take me out. What the heck is that? and I'm fine, and I'm still here. But him and we watch movies together, and he's always teasing me about that because he'll see, God forbid we watch, Field of Dreams or something, and at the end I'm just like, and he's like, Dad, are you crying? And I'm like, yeah. And then it was funny because he watched Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Oh yeah, that's another good one about fathers and sons.
Yep. And so we're sitting there watching that in the theater, and he's always teasing me with that line, are you crying? And I look over, and he's watching the whole Yondu scene at the end, and he's just crying, and I'm like, "Are you crying?" And he's like, "Yeah, Dad, I get it now." And and he just turned 15, and he's like, "Dad, I get it." And it was funny because we got to meet what's his name who plays Yondu, and we shared that story with him. And he was just like, he recorded a little thing for us on our phone to come back. He's like, "Are you crying, boy?" And stuff, because it's like, stop giving your dad a hard time, and stuff. But yeah,
Nice.
man, that's what you see when you. But that's the thing, is like, when you love movies and you have these experiences in your own life, that's what movies, that's the power of film, is that it connects you and that it brings you into these stories of other people that, is it just some light and some pictures flicking by? Yeah, technically, but the reality is it's not just telling a story, it's in many ways telling your story back at you of what you've lived, of what you've experienced, just in a different way.
Yeah, it really is, and that's the great. It's why we take storytelling so seriously, because of that. It conveys these different emotions, and I think it gets us to think about certain things, and the way these things kind of come through. Yeah, I mean that's the what I love about movies and comic book movies that go that deep. I love, because it allows you to like reach an audience on a very large level and get in there and have these discussions and everything. Let me dive through some of these because I want to get to them before it's too late. Okay, Echo Base Network says, "Hey, Mad Max,
Hey,
$2. Sorry, yeah, we got off topic, but I want to make sure we're back on it reading these super chats. You guys are great. Thank you very much, Echo Base Network. JM $5. Thank you very much, Jay. Says a movie that scared and creeped me out was The Hand by Oliver Stone. I never actually saw that one.
I didn't see that one either.
Yeah, I haven't seen. Oliver Stone was like, when I was a kid, it was like, like JFK and Natural Born Killers and stuff. And I'm like, it was too heavy for me.
Yeah.
So I try to remember the,
that might be one to check out. The Hand.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they did make an appearance in Daredevil. Anyway, that's bad. Let's see here. Totaling Wolf $5. Yay!
Yeah.
Let's see. Would you be open for a Waterworld reboot?
Yes.
Personally, I feel like the original Waterworld is an underrated movie. It is an underrated movie. I completely agree.
Well, I was thinking about doing a series, video way back, reboots they should actually make. They always want to make reboots of movies that were successful.
Yeah, that's true. They do. They do.
Reboots of movies that people didn't generally like. That's one that I think they should. Although I like the first Waterworld. I like that movie. I
like it too. I think that Kevin Costner is an awesome director. I always loved Dances with Wolves. I feel like Waterworld was just like, I think it was Paramount that did Waterworld, right? I think it was them.
That was one of the big first.
Yeah, that was big. And then he followed it up with The Postman, which I loved. The Postman. It got a lot of shit, but I love The Postman. I mean, I don't know if you guys ever saw that one.
No,
that was what it was. There was basically another civil war in the country, and so think post-apocalyptic, and he's just a wanderer, just a traveler, and he comes across a mailman, and he comes across like a dead mailman, and he puts on his coat and his hat because it's cold, and he's got like the satchel, and he's walking up on this encampment, and they're guarded and everything else, and they got the guns on him, and they're like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm the postman." And they're like, "But there's no country." And he's all like, "No, there is a country." And he fabricates like that the country has come back, that there's like a new president out of Wyoming or something. And then everyone believes him because they have no form of communication with each other. So they believe him. And what that does is they're up against a warlord, basically. And is it William Sutton? Is that his name? And they're up against this warlord who's like, got it kind of controlling the area. But through him, through what he has said to them, like giving them hope, it prompted these people to take up arms and fight back ultimately against this guy who controls them through violence and fear. And through that, it ends up kind of like restoring society. It's a little bit cheesy at the end. It's all like 50 years later, and it just looks like 1996.
Well, of course.
So yeah, you know, it's like whatever. Like but it's a good movie. I recommend it. You know, and then you know, I think this is before this might have been after he did Wyatt Earp, I think. So it might have been after Wyatt Earp. And Wyatt Earp was a good Costner film. So, you know, there's a lot of I love Costner as a whole. I'd love to see if they were to I don't know if I want them to reboot Waterworld. I just like, I think it just works in its own little bubble, and I don't know if any studio would put up the budget.
No,
for
they
it.
wouldn't. They wouldn't. I thought it would be an interesting video topic. That's all.
I think it'd be. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it'd be also interesting to watch it again and then to discuss whether or not it is or isn't highly underrated. Because I do think that it is underrated. I think it got a lot of crap back in the 90s, and the movie found an audience after the fact.
One of the first movies that people like generally want like to hate on, like really hate on. When that came out, like,
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
Waterworld sucks.
I remember like, but then again, you get to Cable Guy, you know, like in that very end, and it's all like, "There's land, I've seen it. Waterworld's a great movie." Or it's really underrated. Like just there was like a positive Waterworld line in this scene where Jim Carrey's trying to drown Matthew Broderick in a satellite dish. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's like I always got a kick out of that stuff. Let's dive in here. Okay, Alvy Green, $1. Thank you so much, dude, for $1.
It's Baby Yoda.
It is Baby Yoda. Yeah, it's Baby Yoda episode number 8.
I gotta watch The Mandalorian.
Well, because you can tell the expression on Baby Yoda's face. You know exactly what scene it is. You know which one. You know what scene it is, don't you, Max? That's when he's on the speeder bike with IG-11 and they're going into the city and they're shooting everyone. And he's got that big shit-eating grin on his face as IG-11 is just taking everybody out.
Oh, thank God.
God, I love that show.
Thank goodness we're getting season 2. Oh, damn you, Enosh.
Oh, we're not just getting season 2.
I had to.
It's
and that's I've never seen a pop. I knew they did Super Pops, but that's like mega.
That's
pop.
a big one, yeah.
Is that bigger than normal? Than this big?
So, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's much bigger than normal.
No, I mean, I know they do. I know they do the Super Pops, but that looks even bigger than that.
Yeah, no, this is. I mean, this is a pretty big one. It's pretty, but this is like pretty much a Super Pop. I'll tell you what. So this one is for my son. Actually, Tiffany has one. This one's for my son because he wanted one. But the biggest one that I've seen so far is this new Batman one, and I just can't imagine. Like it's huge. It's literally huge and sold at like GameStop or something. And it's just like, what the heck, man? How big are these things going to get? You know, like I was never a pop guy anyway, but now I've got a ton of them.
Well, I've been to their Everett store a couple times because it's about 2 hours north of me.
Yeah.
So I've been up there a couple times, and I went up there for the We Love You 3000 tour a year ago when they were releasing Avengers Endgame. They did like that tour that traveled around and shit. I took a YouTube buddy of mine. We went up there and it was bad. It was pretty bad. All they did, it was a stupid event, but the Funko store is pretty cool. And then when I was in LA for Skywalker, I know they opened a new Funko. We drove past it. Lewis and I drove past it, and I didn't stop in to go check it out. I was so tired because the stores are cool. Like I don't want to buy pops because I look at them like I don't have the money.
Oh, I stopped. I had an addiction.
Yeah, it's
I
like
ended up like Enosh.
Well, there's a couple that I like there's a couple that I want. You know, there's a couple that I want. And that's because
that's how it starts.
That's how it starts. Actually, hold on. I'll show you guys this real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, man, the pop thing. My wife and my kids got into the pop thing, and I was like, nope. And then they're like, well, hey, what do you think about this one? And I'm like, well, yeah, I got to get the Boba Fett one. Nice.
My girlfriend's mom got me a Chewy Build-A-Bear for my birthday a couple years ago. Yeah, I love it. My daughter comes in. She's like, ooh, she points at it. I'm like, no, it's daddy's. You know, and I'll let her hold it. I'm like, all right, give it back. You're gonna get your little stinky hands all over.
Yeah.
But no, I want to go and I want to go get the Baby Yoda Build-A-Bear. They have a Baby Yoda one, and I do want to get, if they have a Mando Build-A-Bear, I want to get all the Star Wars ones. They have a Boba Fett one that I want to get, and then I know it seems weird. I'm like, let me get all these like stuffed animals and shit. But I mean, like I look at this Chewie who doesn't like.
I know
who doesn't love this Chewie every day. It's so great. You know, I don't have a lot of things, but I have a couple things.
I have a Furbaka. A Furby Chewbacca.
Oh, you have a Furby Chewbacca. Oh, nice. That's awesome. Okay, nice. let's look at it here. H-Bar, it's another $10, dude. That's you are dropping it, man. You're
Man,
dropping
we could all use our own H Barts. I tell you what, we could all use our own.
Mine. He's mine. It's all good.
No. That's great.
He says here, other werewolf stuff that scared me as a kid was Goosebumps Werewolf or Fever Swamp and Werewolf Skin episodes. Those werewolf suits were creepy. Search a pic of them better than the 2015 CGI. Of Goosebumps Werewolf Skin? Let's see. Goosebumps Werewolf here. Oh, that is kind of creepy. Okay. Is this from... I mean, this might be from... I don't know. If this is right, you have to tell me. If it's wrong, you have to tell me that too. But if this is what it is, that's actually kind of creepy as fuck, dude. Let's see here. Hold on. Check this out. Look at that.
Whoa.
I mean, if this is from Goosebumps, is this from the movie?
I think it
is. It might be from the movie. Might be from the movie.
I think that's from
but
the movie.
I mean, that looks pretty creepy. I mean, if you can tell it's CG, obviously having a practical... Like, I mean, true crime, what is it? American Werewolf in London. Having those, the John Landis, the way he, those werewolves were creepy. And then did you guys ever see American Werewolf in Paris?
Yes.
It's not terrible. It's not terrible. It got a lot of crap, but I always enjoyed it. And the soundtrack was actually really good.
But the CGI is so bad.
Yeah.
The CGI that's for being that American Werewolf in London was such a groundbreaking film. As far as like visual effects and everything. I mean, I saw that movie dang when I was a kid. Like that's something like I wouldn't have let my own kids watch, but I can't even remember where I saw it. It was like on HBO one night or something. And man, yeah, when American Werewolf in Paris came out, I was all over that. And that just really took me out of it. I agree with you. The story's good. The story's decent. But
it didn't have the same flair. It was a studio sequel, not a director sequel.
Yeah.
And like, because again, like, John Landis is John Landis, and that movie was like also deeply satirical and like darkly comedic. And American Werewolf. I mean, I love Tom Everett Scott and Julie Delpy. I thought they had good chemistry together. I really enjoyed at the time Tom Everett Scott. What's funny was there was a movie he did about a year later called Dead Man on Campus. Did you ever see that one?
I never saw it, but I've heard it. I know.
I saw it a bunch. I liked it. It's a dumb college movie that came out, I think in 99, 98, 99. It's got Tom Everett Scott and Mark Paul Gosselaar.
Yes.
And what it is they are in college and they have a crazy ass roommate and they figure out like they've been partying too much and they're behind on their schooling. They figure out if we can get this guy to kill himself because he's crazy, then we'll get straight A's through the rest of the semester. So they keep putting...
I may have saw that, actually.
They keep putting their roommate in situations where he could kill himself.
Yes.
And it's darkly comedic, and it's got Lachlan Monroe was the roommate. He was also in like the first Scary Movie. He was like the jock guy.
Okay.
He popped up. He was in like Freddy versus Jason as the sheriff.
Yep.
So like, he's been in Lachlan Monroe.
Yeah.
He was in a bunch back in like the late 90s, early 2000s.
He was on a couple episodes of Smallville too.
Oh, that wouldn't surprise me. Yeah,
because we watched Freddy versus Jason with the kids, and then like he popped up on Smallville, and the kids were like, "Hey, yeah, look, there's that guy."
That's man. So real quick here, let's see here. Elrack reacts $2 here. Thank you very much, man. Says I can't watch Click. Oh, I can't watch Click without breaking down. Yeah, I mean, people always like to criticize Adam Sandler, but if you look at his dramatic work, it's actually really solid.
Yes.
And I feel Click was like his best work for merging the two. I really liked Click. I thought it was good.
Gems is on Netflix, right?
I gotta watch it, but people keep saying that it's like super fucking intense, and I just haven't gotten into it yet.
It's like when you gotta really devote your time to
it's Will Patton was the warlord. Okay, I was wrong. I thought Sutton. It was Patton. Thank you very much, J-Man. Appreciate that one. Inhuman Quake. He's like, I gotta go to bed. It's 3:17 in the morning. If you're still here, Inhuman, thank you so much, dude. You're always around. He's a great guy. So I just want to get that one. And then also, apparently, there's a movie called Wolves with Jason Momoa. Haven't heard of that one. Let's see.
One that freaked me out when I was a kid was just watching The Never Ending Story. And the servant of the nothing, the wolf in that story, just like I watched that movie now, and obviously you could tell the puppetry and everything. But I remember being a kid seeing that for the first time at like That messed with me, man. Werewolf movies messed with me when I was a kid. I don't know why. It just
Well, I think Wolfgang Peterson was actually really good at dealing with the practical for back in the day. I mean,
Yeah.
you can go back and look at like A Never-Ending Story and go, yeah, you can tell it's the 1980s. It's like
Yeah.
watching The Last Starfighter.
Yeah.
You can tell. And it's those are those movies. Like, as much as I enjoy the story, a friend of mine once asked me when we were in film school, he's like, are there any movies that you'll watch when you were a kid and you watch when you're an adult and you just go, yeah, they probably should just remain in my memory from being a kid? For me, the Never-Ending Story is kind of like that because of how dated it is, but I also saw it back when I was in like that hypercritical mode of everything. I mean, I always like to joke, not to be too offensive, but I like to joke that like when you do a film school and you're watching movies, you're kind of like a born again Christian. Right? Like, you know what I'm talking, you know the type I'm talking about. You know the type I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you're always like, oh no, this isn't how it's done. This is not how it's done. You know, like it's that kind of. That was the last time I watched Batman '89, and I just tore it to shreds. I tore it to shreds, and like it got me in so much trouble on Twitter the other day because I criticized it. And people were like, "You don't know what you're talking about." I'm like, I know what I'm talking about. Let's see here. Echo Base asks thoughts on Tim Pool.
What happened to Tim Pool?
Well, okay, so I
don't know.
I don't think you will agree with me on this one. I do know Tim Pool personally. I have hung out with him multiple times. I've been on his podcast in person. Tim Pool is as much of a grifter as one can be on YouTube. What he does, and this is what he
now be nice. Echo Base paid his super chat money.
I'm telling you the truth. Like, I'm telling you the truth. He's explained to me how he does it.
Okay.
You know, he's really good at like clickbait. And then he's also, the thing is, he doesn't do journalism anymore. All he does is react to articles, and he takes it to like the worst possible take. He claims to be a lefty, or at least some kind of moderate, while always attacking the left and never once attacking the right. And so it becomes this, and his takes are
for the right, maybe.
He acts as a shield for them. And if you really break down a lot of his takes, it's like, oh, dude, you're not even trying anymore. Yeah. Like, you're just not even trying. And it's that notion of all that. And again, like a lot of those guys, I used to run in those circles. I know all those dudes. So there's that one. Anyway, I don't think Tim is a horrible person. He's very fun to hang out with, but he is not honest in his reporting, and he's not honest on YouTube. And I have no problem calling that out because I do know him personally. And if you want to look into who he is, his brother accused him of ripping him off, and his brother Reactor, I know him too. I've hung out with him multiple times.
I heard of him.
Reactor, yeah, he's recently, yeah. And so like, again, Reactor, look in Reactor's story, and you know, people were really quick to attack Reactor over that, but I read what he said, and I know his brother, and I'm like, no, I believe him. So that's my, I don't think he's a horrible dude, but it's like, I had to disassociate because it was just, so many grifters have come out of the commentary community, the anti-social justice community the last couple of years. It's been pretty bad. So anyway, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right. H Bart's $5, man. Thank you. That is another one. He says he's going to show me the wolf on Twitter. I don't know if that's a threat.
Oh man,
that's good stuff. That's good stuff, man. Fucking no, I'll check that out. Let's see here. Matt, give us the skinny. How much poop do you think is on theater chairs? Yeah, so here's the thing with that. It's not specifically that I believe that there is a lot of feces. It's that there's a lot of other stuff, and it's just people in general. So let me explain. When you go to a movie,
go to bed. I don't want to hear this.
Yeah. So when they clean the auditorium, they just, in between the shows, they just sweep the popcorn generally back underneath the seat, right? And then they get the big ticket items, they sweep the floor, whatever. And so there's that. Okay. And so then at the end of the night, they'll get a cleaning crew come in, and the cleaning crew will take like a leaf blower to the theater, and they'll everything up to the front, and they sweep it up and they clean it, but they don't clean the seats. They maybe occasionally might go in and like steam clean them or do something like that. But I'm telling you this, none of the theaters I ever worked at did that. You know, I mean, the theater that $3 Theater is named after legitimately had rats that were dead in the wall. Pasadena, California. They're everywhere over there. So there's a lot of stuff there. But I mean, I worked at a drive-in for the longest of my theater works, and I've cleaned up shit that people have pooped in pillowcases.
You know what the craziest
so
thing is? The most important people get paid the least now, with keeping things clean after this health crisis.
yeah,
And
I mean,
that's who we're relying on, because the same people are. I mean, people are getting paid the same, but they're like, "Oh, you got to clean this after every single customer." And you know, I mean, after you do it so many times, it's just human nature to be like, oh, okay, you know, barely wiping it off.
yeah, I mean, like like there was a Cinemark put out a tweet the other day showing like someone with like spray disinfectant going in
After so many showings,
after every show they're gonna go in. I'm like, no, they're not. There's like 60, like
unfortunately they're the lowest paid. I mean, but that's the way society works. But should they be after all this? It's reevaluate things. I don't know.
I mean, like again, like I tend to not think about what's on the seat. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like if you go to a porn theater, you don't ask yourself what's sticking on the floor. Like there are certain things in this world you simply do not want to know the answer to. Yeah. And that's kind of one of them. I mean, I remember this. I went to go, this was Valentine's Day, 2008. I had a date with a girl. It ended early, fine with me. And then I went to a party and then I went down and I saw the midnight show of Diary of the Dead, because I was not going to miss Diary of the Dead. I was seeing it first freaking day. Big George Romero fan myself. Also, point of view found footage is my jam. So I had to go see it. It was playing in one theater in San Diego, down by the border, at midnight. And I get down there and I'm hanging out and I'm waiting. And as soon as like the last, I think it was like Step Up 2 or something, like it cleared out. And I go into the auditorium and I take my seat. I get the seat that I want. I'm ready for the movie. I have like 45 minutes to wait. Fine with me. I get in there and then I'm watching the employees clean the theater. And like, I'm laughing because I'm listening to them talk about this. And one woman pulls up, she's like, so what do we do if we find hair extensions? And they're like, what? And then she holds up hair extensions. And she's like, what do I do with this? And they're like, I don't know, lost and found. Like you find weird things. Like people will, it's not like they'll lose money, they'll lose wallets, whatever. But like you find like some weird stuff that gets left behind.
Oh, for sure.
And so when I worked at the drive-in, trust me, I've seen a lot of weird stuff. And so it always makes me laugh my ass off, because you never really want to think about it. And you shouldn't really have to. I think now they're going to like implement measures to make this so it's like they disinfect stuff, because they're going to have to find a way to do it. But I mean, at the same time, you're like, it's just going to be so time consuming, because if you're looking at a 16-plex auditorium, or 16-plex theater, and you do, you run each theater runs 5 shows a day.
It's kind of unrealistic that these workers I mean, you see, I've gone to stores and you have to wipe off the keypad and then it's like after so long they're like barely wiping it. It's just monotonous and crazy. It's weird world.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to bring this up real quick because this is what H. Bart sent me on Twitter. This is the Goosebumps thing he's talking about. I want to make sure he showed me this right here. Here's the thing. I do want to talk real quick. Okay, I'll mention one thing and then I want to get to the Batflick thing and then we'll probably start winding it down because I do need to get to bed myself. This has been such a fun stream, even without the insane support by you guys, which is awesome. Thank you. I love the good conversations and I love the hype up and I love diving into stuff. This is why I do what I do. I think this is why we do what we do.
Yes.
So that to me is it means the world.
You know what this means to me, Matt, is people want to support you and they want you to do your live shows, man.
Yeah, the live shows. I mean, I do. Here's the thing. I do live shows, and this is honestly the first time I've gotten super chats in like a while. And I just do them anyway. I just like, I have fun with it. Like I did last night. I did 2 hours. Did a call-in show. I meant to do call-in show tonight. We'll do a call-in show tomorrow. I promise. We'll do.
They're fun. They're fun, man. I
tuned into yours. I tuned into yours. Yeah.
What was that? What was that movie? That trailer? The one with
the Velocipaster.
No, that Sold on the Gold. What was that?
Oh, the curse of the gold. It's the
That's
curse.
all I remember from that trailer.
Curse of the golden flower. There
That
we
was
go.
really interesting.
Yeah. So this is the. I don't know if it's gonna work or not, but this is. Let me see here. This is the GIF he sent me. Okay, it's not working. I have it blown up pretty big. Let's see. If I go back down to just normal speed, it's not working. Well, that's kind of lame. Maybe that will work there. All right, so we get a bit better of a look. Diving in. Oh, god damn it. Oh, come on. There. Okay.
There we go.
So that's from Goosebumps. That looks pretty good, actually. I'm not gonna. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like that one quite a bit.
That would have scared the crap out of me as a kid.
Yeah, I would love them to dive into like doing more werewolf stuff and like, give
Yeah.
us like a good creepy like vampire movie. Like I always enjoyed was it 30 Days of Night, because I felt like it tackled vampires pretty well.
Since I have a suggestion, if you ever want to do a watch party for What We Do in the Shadows, the show.
Is it season 2 on right now, or is it over?
It's over. It's on Hulu.
Okay.
But if you ever up for that show is freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's
I have Hulu. I'll check it out.
and you can do like little 20-minute episodes in like a watch party, maybe like 2 episodes, and just to see if anyone wants to see.
I do want to do more watch stuff, more watch parties.
But something like that's like short and fun.
Yeah.
I want to rewatch it. I finished season 2. It was freaking hilarious.
I'll check it out. All right. So, Bat Dan, don't worry. We're going to get to your question. All right. So real quick. Ryan Jacobo asked, does Tim Pool's brother wear a beanie? No, he doesn't. He wears a hat. And then El Rack asks, what's the most heinous thing people do in a movie theater that I've caught? Define heinous. I mean, I've seen people beat their children. That's not good. We've had to call the cops on that one.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's more like this. What it was is we had in our snack bar, we had these like metal gates, like people could go through turnstiles and then whatever. And this guy and this kid got into it. Like it wasn't even his kid, it was his girlfriend's kid over like popcorn or something like that. And then the guy smacked the kid in the head, and the kid went right into the fence, right into the railing. And so we had to call the cops on that one. And like the guy was like, had a warrant out for his arrest, and he's like it was a mess.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I've seen people, let's see. I mean, it's a drive-in, so it's like, think about it. Like people have smoked weed, right? That's not uncommon. I've smoked weed there. People drink. That's definitely not uncommon. I used to go through my nights kind of drunk. We would sit there and bring out the teeners. We'd get teeners of MGD, and we would sit around and just get hammered and watch movies all night long. And then we'd get into these like 3-hour drunken discussions over Lord of the Rings. What my friend, super hammered, huge Tolkien fan, loved and hated the movies simultaneously. If you got him on a Tolkien rant, it's you can't shut him up for 3 hours. It's like everything wrong with the movies. I'm like, yeah, Bob. Yeah, Bob. No, I know, Bob. I've known you for 20 years. I know the story. Love the guy to death, but like that's the thing. He starts talking about Tolkien. I'm like, dude, we're not doing this right now. Well, let's talk Trump. You and I disagree, but that's more fun. So,
that's some serious Tolkien fan right there.
That's how you get around that. You bring up
Wow.
politics. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I love that guy. He's such a good guy, but like we just, that was way back in the day when we were like, the unchecked youth, so to speak. But I've seen people have sex a lot, and I used to mess with them. So when I used to manage the drive-in, like we'd have like the big lights, and I could see out into at the end of the night, occasionally there'd be a truck. People would either be asleep or they'd be in the back, getting busy. And I could look out from my tower and I could see down. I could see it. I could see if they were doing it. And then because it's so late at night, I could hear if the radio was on. And when it was on, I would just turn on the microphone. And I would just go, ladies and gentlemen, the Santee Drive-In is now closed. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And to the truck that's having sex, please pull out and get the hell out. And then they would gone. You know what I mean? Like they're just gone. They wouldn't even finish. And I'm all like, that's right. If I'm not getting any tonight, neither are you. I was a salty. I was fuck yeah. I'm not getting none of that. You know?
Locker.
Oh,
No, I had one night. There was like the last car. These two girls were there. They ended up talking to them. I ended up hitting on one of them. She's kind of into me and whatnot. We make out a little bit. I'm managing. I hadn't done any of my final paperwork yet. I'm like, I don't want to leave, but I got to go take money to the bank. My buddy had shown up, and I'm like, keep him here. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
keep him talking. I'll be back in 10 minutes. They left. I was like, son of a bitch. No. No, but I mean, like, there's the thing is the drive-in, mostly it's the sex stuff. People would take dumps and things. There a lot of ejaculate. There would be trash bathrooms. I've seen women like take out their tampons and draw a mural on the bathroom wall.
hell.
Yeah, people are disgusting. If you ever think, if you, this is true, and women will back this up too. Women's bathrooms are way worse than men.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Men will pee on the floor. It's disgusting enough. Women hover.
Oh,
They hover. I'm
about to go to bed, man.
I'm just saying, I have come into a bathroom and I'm like, I get someone comes like, someone pooped on the wall.
My
And I
wife.
walk-
Oh my gosh. Dude.
Yeah, I walk in there and I'm not kidding you. It was like next to the toilet bowl on the wall, length of like where the toilet seat is, and then just dripping down to the floor.
Oh my god.
And I got on the radio and I just said like, "Hey, Will, get your ass over to the women's room and clean up some shit."
Oh,
He's like,
man.
"You do it." I'm like, "I'm your boss." Click. Like, I mean, like I have seen it's so bad.
My wife and I were in a store a couple years ago, and she went into the restroom. She had to go really bad, and she was looking for a restroom. And we found the store. She runs in, she comes running right back out, and and I'm like, "What's wrong?" She goes, "I can't use that bathroom." And I'm like, "Seriously? Like it's a store. Like there's got to be multiple." She's like, "Nope." She's like, "One is absolutely disgusting." And I said, "Well, what's wrong with the other one?" She goes, "I got 2 words for you: toilet lasagna."
Oh god.
And I went, "What?"
Oh god.
And so it was like I ended up running security for her to use the men's room. She's like, "I'm going into the men's room." So I was like, I'm standing outside the door like, "Sorry, sir, no, my wife's in there."
Let me one up you on that one, and then we'll move topics. Don't worry, it's not that bad.
I'm getting nauseous.
So because the drive-in would host a swap meet on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, we were so close to the border, we'd get a lot of people from over the border coming over, which is great. Except for some reason, people really liked, for some reason, to flush clothing.
Oh,
I don't know why. I really don't know why. They like to do that. So
Yep.
the drive-in would have 1,000 cars, right? We'd sell out both sides. We could fit 1,000 cars in there. That's a couple thousand people. Middle of July, our really busy month. Saturday night, all of a sudden, bathrooms start to overflow.
Oh god.
Everything starts to back up. It comes out of the drains.
Oh.
It floods into the snack bar.
Ew.
Because it was built in the 60s.
Yep.
So there's one drainage ditch going out to the sewer, and it got backed up. So the water that's coming up out of the ground, it is not good water. And it also floods our parking lot because it backs up into the parking lot, because there's drainage ditches in the parking lot too. They had drain lines, and it would back up into the parking lot. So what we would have to do is that we'd have to shut down the bathrooms. We'd have to basically run 2 lines. Like, you can only pee, but you can't flush the toilet. And people would be lined up for like an hour to try to use the bathroom. And then at the end of the night, it would be our job to clean the bathroom.
Oh god.
And that is when
I gotta go home early. Bye, everyone.
my first summer there, when this happened, back in 2001, Bob, who I just mentioned, wanted to haze me. And he wanted me to go in there to clean the men's room at the end of the night, because it was trashed. So I walk into the men's room. I take a look at the handicap stall. There's a catheter on the side of the toilet. Oh no, there's a catheter in the toilet at that point. Beer cans in the toilet. These aren't high class people. And I take one look at that and I go, fuck no. I walk in, I clock out because I was working the snack bar at the time. I wasn't lot. There's 2 different departments, and my parents were there to watch a movie with my brother and my sister. They were in they were exiting at the time. I just clocked out. I hightailed it to the car as they're in line to get out. I jumped in the back of the Mustang and I'm like, just get the fuck out of here. And so Bob, who at the time was very much an alcoholic, was so hammered by the end of that night that he had to go and clean that toilet himself.
Oh no.
And he puked himself sober. And trust me, here it is nearly 20 years later. He will still bring that up in conversations and he will still cuss me out. And I say,
sure.
I don't care, Bob. You still had to clean up that shit. I went the hell home.
Oh God.
Man.
Oh, no, we're still solid friends. Like we he got me, trust me, they put me on some terrible duty. Like they made sure that I knew I had to go help them and they got me back the next week. So like they got me, I got them sort of thing. We've been friends for 2 decades. You know what I mean? Like
that's rough.
Hazing. It was bad. It was funnier than shit. It's so bad. All right, so let's move on to like the last thing we could talk about here. Bat Dan asked, and this has popped up a couple times. I feel bad because Inhuman wanted to know this too, so I'm gonna have to timestamp it and let him know. 2:39. Okay. Batfleck coming back as Batman. There's this rumor going around today. What do you guys think about that one?
I think it's great. I hope it's true. Things are different now. It's possible. I don't know. Matt, you didn't seem too convinced. I don't know.
Well, so here's the thing: is there's so many conflicting rumors surrounding this right now.
Mm-hmm. Somebody told me this rumor last week.
Yeah,
and look, from a fan perspective, I absolutely love the idea.
Yeah,
I mean, from a fan perspective, I think it's absolutely amazing. It's awesome. I would love for it to happen. I'm glad that Ben Affleck is in a better place in his life right now. Mm-hmm. And he obviously, I mean, he looks great. He got through that time period, and all these people who are like, you Snyder fans just want him to go back and ruin his life again. It wasn't Batman that ruined his life. He had a lot of stuff going on in his life at the time, and and hopefully he's gotten some of those things worked out. On the actual rumor, do I believe it? I could see it with what's going on. I mean, look, we're getting the Snyder cut. At this point, I'm almost willing to believe anything. I've seen a couple of things over the last couple of days that I'm like, yeah, I don't know so much about that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Ben Affleck coming back and then possibly doing something, with HBO Max and things like that, I could definitely see that.
Well, yeah, I agree with you. Bad Dan here says the Batfleck rumor came from the cultured nerd. They're reliable, and I do. Taylor, I like Taylor, and I like him quite a bit. And then also Matt from Lightcast is a good dude too. He's a good guy. And because Enosh had a conversation with him, and then I like Matt clipped a lot of it out, and then it ended up popping into my feed, so I just watched a lot of the clips. The other night.
That was cool.
He did it with me too. He didn't tell me that was going to happen though. So like all of a sudden he put a video. It's all like, reasons why Matt hates Andy Signore.
I love it. Love it.
I'm just like, you fucking dick. Like, oh my God, whatever, man. It's fine. I said it. I'm not going to hide from it. But so no, so Affleck coming back as Batman, yes, that I actually think is going to happen. It makes the most amount of sense.
Yeah.
You've got the Snyder cut. Again, as you said, he's in a different place in his life. I mean, when he says the movie's like The Way Back or What I Want, if you look at the storyline of Justice League, it is like that. Mm-hmm. If you look at how Batman was in BVS, old, bitter, cynical, filled with anger, and he just didn't have faith in humanity anymore. And then Superman's sacrifice and seeing that made him realize the error of his ways.
Yes.
And then in Justice League, his whole thing is to put together the team. He's now seen the light. There's a redemption arc there. That's a whole part of it. So yeah, I think in that point in time, that would make the most amount of sense to bring back Ben Affleck as Batman. Now, what I'm hearing is this
sources.
Sources. multiple people. It's multiple people at this point, but I really honestly don't know. With Daniel Richtman like stealing scoops and then putting behind a paywall, and like Jeremy Conrad putting scoops behind a paywall, but then waiting for Grace Randolph to say something that could corroborate what he said behind a paywall. I know Mikey Sutton. I'm friends with Mikey Sutton. Mikey drops scoops all the time. I give him the benefit of the doubt over everything because I'm like, he puts his name to it, and his stuff is, generally he's got a decent track record, and he doesn't do any shady shit with it. Despite what some people have tried to say that he has. Anyway, so the way I look at, so what I'm hearing now is like this whole Keaton thing, right? They want Keaton to come back, and they want him to be in Flashpoint, and they want him to then be this Nick Fury-like character. And I'm like, look, I don't want any of that. I mean, I'm not against him having a cameo in Flashpoint. Like, I'd be great to see him don the cape again, cape and cowl. But if he's playing old Bruce Wayne in a Batman Beyond movie, now you've got my attention.
Yeah.
But what I'm hearing, so this is where things have been kind of conflicted, is, like Mikey did drop the news that they were getting ready to sign the deal. But then, he told me, I got to pull that back because I guess now that's not happening. And he's like, I probably should not have jumped the gun on that. I'm like, I get that. Because you can never be too sure with the scoop game. Right.
Yep. Sure.
So then today I start getting like emails from people, and they're going like, oh, have you heard that if Warner doesn't get Michael Keaton, they want to put Christian Bale in instead as like the elder mentor for like a Batman Beyond. And I'm like, that won't even work. Bale's like still in his 40s.
Yeah.
Like they're going to have to age him. So it's like, so when this is my problem. When I criticize DC's multiverse theatrically, it doesn't make a lick of sense because it's just too confusing. If you want to do it on like a TV show where you have time to build up this kind of stuff, maybe they're going to do it with HBO Max, like what Marvel's doing with Disney Plus. That's one thing. But the way I look at all this right now, it just becomes that it's becoming confusing already, and nothing is signed. So if it's already confusing people, you're already off to a bad situation. So it's again, the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. Don't go too crazy into it right away. Set it up, and then go from there. And I think that's in essence what we're going to see coming out of this. So
I agree with you. I mean, like, look, as a big fan of Batman '89 that I am, I love me some Michael Keaton, and I just rewatched that movie the other day. And speaking of movies that like come back in theaters and stuff, we just a couple years ago it came back to my local Cinemark, and I took my son to go see it, and like I know that movie backwards and forwards. So when you talk about Michael Keaton coming back, that actually does excite me. If it's done in the right way, because I have said for a few years now that I would love to see, just like everybody else, that we would love to see Michael Keaton come back as Bruce Wayne for a Batman Beyond movie. That makes a lot of sense. Where I was starting to get concerned is I was fine with him maybe coming back for Flashpoint if he's going to play a role in Flashpoint, and they're not going to do the typical Flashpoint, with Thomas Wayne and that whole storyline and flesh that out. If they're not going to do that, then okay, you bring in an older Bruce Wayne. Maybe that's going to set up the things for a Batman Beyond, and I'd be cool with that too. That's fine. When they started talking this Nick Fury stuff, that kind of took me out of it a little bit, because I'll be honest with you, if you got to trade me Michael Keaton for several movies or bring back Ben Affleck, is kind of where my brain started going with it, because Ben Affleck's Batman is the elder Batman. He's been around. He's seen some stuff. He's done some stuff. So, and he's kind of on his way out. And what we've heard from originally was that Batman at the end of the Justice League arc was actually supposed to die. Right. So if that's all true, like that's what starts concerning me, because now you're throwing, and then I've even heard a rumor that they were, that Thomas Wayne still may be in it. So now how many Batmen are you going to have in it? How many, and like, you're going to take all these people on its right. And somebody like me, I'm going to be sitting here going, oh, this is so cool. I can't believe I'm actually physically seeing this with real actors on a screen, because I'm a DC fan. But again, this, like you said, it almost opens the door now for all those naysayers to once again come in and go, this is too confusing. Yeah. We don't understand what this is. Why are you doing this? Why can't you give us a straight up story and just run with it?
I mean, if it's done right, Spider-Verse worked You know, I
But
don't know.
Spider-Verse did not have pre-established canon. Right. And I think Spider-Verse, and like I love Spider-Verse, by the way. That movie is so good on so many levels.
Give you a heads up, it's gonna be 4 for me.
Yeah, I know I gotta wrap this up here in a second. You can take off if you want, dude. I know I can see you kind of like going like,
yeah, I was trying to stay till the end because I was being supportive of my pal.
Well, I appreciate you hanging out, dude.
You're having a good stream, and that's why I was like, I'm staying even though I'm tired. Because
this has been a good stream, even without
a good hot stream. You don't want to like,
yeah.
You know, not that I'm. I mean, I like to think I have a small contribution to the hot stream.
No, absolutely. No, you guys are great. I like having you on.
This is the winning combination right here, Max. This is the winning combination right here. It's gotten Matt Jarbo more super chats than he's ever got.
Right.
To be fair,
I didn't throw anything off the vibe, but I was like tired at the beginning of this stream.
Yeah. No, you're like, if you came off an hour and 45-minute stream on your own end.
Yeah, but I was like, he's like,
so, yeah.
Dude, your face has got to be like when you take that mask off. It does come off, I assume. When you take that mask off, that's got to be like amazing. Like after a 3-hour stream, that's just fantastic.
This one's comfortable. Other masks I have, I love collecting them. Like you love collecting figures.
Yeah,
the most comfortable one to stream with, and where. But yeah, I almost fell asleep a few times.
That's all right. That's okay. I want you to we'll wrap this up here in a minute anyway, but I do I want to point out when it comes to me criticizing DC on this front, I'm a movies guy. I'm not a comics guy. I like comics, but I'm a movie guy first. Okay. So I think about things from the sanctity of the story and the sanctity of the understanding of the audience.
Yeah.
And that is the producer in me wanting to make sure that people can understand what they see and then ultimately come back multiple times. So when you start really looking at it from that perspective, on the comics front, it'd be kind of cool. Like everyone pops in, you do these Elseworlds one-off things. Those are kind of cool. People after 12 years of Marvel, people expect continuity. Like even the most ardent DC fan is gonna go like, oh no, yeah, And I think if what I'm hearing from all these people like Cultured Nerd and the Film Junkie and all those dudes who are great guys, by the way, I disagree with them on this front because they're like, oh, everything is canon and that's awesome. I'm like, no, that's not awesome because that becomes way too confusing. And we see this. Look at Doom Patrol season 2. I'm just gonna use this as an example. They dropped the first 3 episodes and then they're going week to week, right? That's good for building momentum. When you start throwing everything at the wall right away, you have a lot of trouble building momentum. And in the case of DC, in past DC films, the fact that they didn't acknowledge the DCEU as the branding until AT&T launched HBO Max, which I thought was awesome. When I came across that, I was like, whoa, oh my God, that's awesome. And they didn't know what they wanted to do. They kept jumping around. They fired people. They replaced people. There was no leadership. Now it feels like there's leadership, and I think they're exploring all options. I think what we're hearing about is the exploring of all options.
Yeah.
What I personally want is I just want the Ben Affleck Batman movie, dude. Like that's really what I want. I want Deathstroke. I want to see what they were going to show us. And it's like, yes, I want to see Matt Reeves, the Batman. Obviously, I love Matt Reeves as a director and a writer. He's a great talent. But it's like, I don't like that it's not connected. I just don't. Mm-hmm. But as I've said, I think they're going to find a way to make it connected. I think they are. I think they're going to connect to Joker, and I think they're going to connect the Batman.
Really? You think they are going to connect those all, huh?
Well, if this multiverse thing is real.
Well, yeah. I mean, if the multiverse thing is real, then everything is connected in some crazy way. But, I look back at like what they just did with Crisis on Infinite Earths on TV. And even with that, there's some things that I absolutely love about it. And is some of the greatest superhero stuff that as a DC fan that I've ever seen. And then there's other stuff that I just go, oh man, that was not executed very well. So I hear you on that front. And as a comic book guy, as a superhero guy, as a DC guy, and as a movie guy, I get it. I get the concern for sure. I
just don't want to see him screw up again.
Me either.
I feel protective over it. Yeah. It's weird because I'm more of a Marvel guy. You know?
Okay.
Like
okay.
I mean, it's not that it's weird because like I'm big on a lot of different franchises, so it's not any
Sure, yeah.
particular one thing. But like Marvel, I love the MCU. Like I think Endgame and Infinity War are like the Kill Bill of that universe. When I say that, I mean it's like two parts of one movie. And it's a great experience when watching it together. And they crafted it so well and they made it so emotionally charged by the time you get to the end of that roller coaster. And it's such a good, you know, there's a reason why like We Love You 3000 was a really big hit last summer, you know?
Yeah.
So like it was people emotionally resonated with this. And I think that as much as I emotionally resonate with Man of Steel and BVS and these characters, and based upon, as we mentioned, the father-son dynamic, the mother-son dynamic, and then not only like Aquaman, I love Aquaman. I think Jason Momoa did a great job. I loved all the supporting cast. James Wan knocked it out of the park, and it still fits within the Snyder DCEU.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you can have a swashbuckling epic. You can have Shazam was like a nerdy 80s comedy.
Yes.
That was like more like a darker kind of like, you know, like darker kind of kids film.
Love it.
And it still fits in that universe and does a great job. And it's like, you can do all this, and I care about these characters and I want to see it succeed. My fear is that they haven't learned their lessons, even though deep down I know at this point they probably have. But it's like when you get all these conflicting rumors, it just causes confusion. And in this space right now, because nothing else is happening, it amplifies it. Like, because,
Well, yeah.
you know,
I've wondered like what to talk about even on our channel, because like when the Michael Keaton stuff hit at first, I remember like I kind of saw that half through a daze and I was like, wait, what is that? What? Hold on. Michael Keaton's coming back as Batman? That's got to be like some fake news, you know, site or whatever.
And then you're like, Hollywood Reporter reported on it.
Wait, hold on. Who? Like, you know, and so like then everybody starts running with it. And I was like, crap. And then by the time I got a video out on it, I had to go somewhere. And by the time I got back, like there was already that new information about, you know, the supposed, you know, mentor stuff, you know, and multiple films and all that stuff. So it's like, as stuff has been coming this week, I just kind of like looked at it and gone, man, I feel like I got to kind of wait on some of it because I don't want to look stupid when I feel like you do. Like there's a lot of stuff going on. I think they're trying to figure it out right now, figure out what's going to work, what's going to fit after, you know, the whole Snyder thing happens and calms down. What's going to be the natural progression? Where do we go from there? And, you know, as a fan, I always want to see cool things that I never thought I'd see before.
Yeah.
But I want them to get that sorted out where we're not just getting berated with one crazy story after another until we're just like, well, I don't believe any of that. Like, I don't know what to believe anymore, even as a fan, you know, and I think that's going to detract from it because then what you're going to have is you're going to have various stories and things that people are going to latch onto and go, oh, I really like this. And then when that doesn't happen, then they're going to get ticked off and they're going to find a reason to hate on it because that part that they like didn't happen.
Yeah, and I will say though, like I did really enjoy the fact today that a lot of people there was like the Batfleck trending.
Yes,
that was happening. Yes. That was pretty good, and I think Max has actually fallen asleep at this point. His eyes are closed. Look at that.
We could just like say crazy things about.
Oh
Max
my
right
God.
Now.
Okay.
Oh, this is a first.
That's amazing. I get it. It's late for him. It's really late for him.
It's 4 for me as well.
Yeah. I can see your eyes are red, dude. It's 1 a.m. here. I got to get to bed. Yeah. But I did find this on Reddit real quick. This is some fan art someone had made about Ben Affleck as Batman.
Ooh.
And I'm like, that's cool, man. Like that's really cool.
Very cool.
I think we're gonna get more of Ben Affleck. I think there's a big enough push. I think Affleck wants it. You know, but I don't know what their theatrical plans are. If they start pushing all this stuff to HBO Max, I'm not actually against it.
Yeah.
Because obviously streaming is where there's going to be better financial security for them.
Yes.
As time goes on, as Netflix has proven, and if you're smart about it, you can do it like Disney did with The Mandalorian and dominate conversations.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And that's what Zack Snyder's Justice League is going to do. It's going to be episodic. It's going to dominate conversation. And that's going to elevate it and elevate and elevate, hype.
Yes.
And I think that's going to be what people really want to see. And I think from there, we're going to get a whole new world of these characters. And it could be different than the theatrical, but I think again that's kind of like being stupid, considering that everything we've had theatrical right now since Justice League is still part of the Snyderverse. So I think they're going to keep it. I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm excited. I am excited for. I'm going to go see it anyway. You know, I can't wait to see Wonder Woman 84.
Sure. Oh yeah,
Aquaman.
When they
2
do
is gonna
finally
be lit.
release that. When they do finally release that movie.
You know, Shazam 2 is going to start filming here pretty soon. They're going to be doing more Shazam 2 during DC Fandom in a couple weeks, or in a couple months, and so like we're going to get more out of that. So I think we're going to get a lot of DC stuff that's going to be a lot of fun. And in the meantime, you know, we got to just pass the time with things to talk about. But this was a 3-hour stream. I don't do normal 3-hour streams. I did an hour one earlier today, so I see why he's going to pass out like that. Oh my god.
That's just hilarious. That's just hilarious right there, just to see that. That's
I'm going to take a screenshot of this, and there we go. Max is there. I'm just going to save that. Max passed out. All right. So, Enosh, tell everyone where they can find you.
So we are on YouTube, obviously, Poindexter Lounge. We have a lot of fun there. We do like movie talk. We do toy reviews. Obviously, we do
a lot of toys.
Yes, we do. But we have a lot of fun. We just talk about all things nerd, and we call it a place for nerds. So if you're into TV shows, movies, games, sci-fi, fantasy, superheroes, comic books, toys, and so much more, that's the place for you. And you can find us on Twitter at Poindexter Lounge, Facebook, all the Instagram, all that good stuff. So,
all right. Well, thank you so much for coming on in. I know it's kind of last minute and everything else.
Yeah, man, that's cool. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, Maladen here says, "Can somebody please tell Max to go to sleep?" Oh no, he's already asleep. We don't have to tell him anything. He's already passed out. This has been a lot of fun. For the replay of this will be over on the Hollywood After Dark channel, which will be up here in a little bit. I like to remove them so it doesn't mess with the algorithm too much.
Gotcha.
So I just private it and then it goes over there. That's why I love StreamYard. You can do simultaneous streams.
Yes.
And so I just have an archive channel. People can check it out over there. And I really want to get back into it. That's why I just bought this new camera and I got the new office set up and thing. I'm happy with it. I'm loving it. So we'll do more.
That's where I'm at too. I got to get a new camera for this, and then I'm switching over to StreamYard here next month. So,
well, I mean, the camera I'm using right now. I'll tell you more about it once we get out there.
Yeah. No, it's good.
But okay, so to everybody else, thank you again. Thank you, Elrac. Thank you, H Barts. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Forth. Thank you, Safety Zoom. Garrick was here in the beginning of this. Bat Dan, Jack Pierre. Let me just kind of run through. Anthony was in here. Anthony's a good dude here all the time. Ryan Shidoko is a member. He's a great guy. Echo Base Network. Everyone who came in tonight. Shifty Gizm. He made a couple funny comments I unfortunately missed. Inhuman, Jay, everybody. You guys are all awesome. Thank you again so much. Max is still passed out. Oh, that's awesome. That's so funny. Oh, that's so great.
I know, man. It's just great to look at.
He's so
riveting.
out. This is fantastic. He's not going to live this one down. All right, guys. We'll see you later.